Welcome everyone to the Panda and Horses team. Because our memory is sus. Hello, my name is Panda. That's the weird guy that streams chess on the internet. Yeah, this is my Panda voodoo doll. What's up, everybody? It's Thursday. It's a long day. Long Thursdays. It just takes me a little while to get into the swing of things. What's up, Mr. Coffee? Acerbate. Let's see who's here. Roll call. Thursdays are analysis stream with the community. Whoa, we got a lot of people in the stream. Wow. Did I get raided or something? Waffle Builder. There's Waffle Butter, Uncle Spawn. Some cool people out there in the community. Alright, back to chat. What's up, Waffle Builder? Alright, so Thomas Streinson said that he's probably not going to make it to the stream tonight. Lakey, I need to add your game. Hello. Hello, Maggie, for the stream. Alright. I always forget your exact spelling of your lichess name. When I go to look for it, I can't find it. Alright. That's now added. Have I left anyone else out? The list now includes, but not limited to, am I in the wrong window? Yeah, no. Sync? Why am I not synced? How can I not be synced in my own study? Can you someone explain that to me? How am I not synced in my own study? Very strange. 8 viewers. So Waffle Builder. Moderators, Mr. Coffee, Mubat. Community, VIPs. A lot of people I've never heard of. Active viewers and chatters. Alright. So, Thomas Reinson. Mr. Bites, aka Yavadas, Resonant Spectre, a new one, Acerbate, Sumahair, Lakey, and Morales. That makes 7. We do a max of 10 games on Thursday night's analysis stream. Twitter has bots, you don't say. Alright, it can't be all bad. Bots are better than people. I like bots better than people anyway. Except when I'm playing online poker. Bots are smarter than people. Mr. Coffee, sir. Alright, what's up? So what's the news? I like how they started a new Grand Chess Tour tournament, like the day after the other one ended. I was like, what? I was on lichess and I saw they're streaming Blitz and Rapid from Poland. Are they trying to like just dominate the chess world or something? Have a tournament every day? We're trying to monetize chess for Magnus Carlsen. Alright, anyway, I'm not interested. Maybe in long games. Alright, what's up? Mr. Coffee, how was your week? One more day to go. We're going to start with the Thryson game. Thryne. It's probably Thrainson. Thrain, son of Thrain. Alright. Thrainson, son of Thrain. Versus Summer Day. So we're playing white in this. Our hero is white. Thomas is not going to make it. He is playing white here, friends. First game, we're analyzing Thrinson versus Summerday. Now, what's this? Game 900 seconds plus 10. So it's 15 plus 10. Baby got bought. Man, I've got this like really annoying like fluid in my ear. And I haven't been like swimming or anything. I must have accidentally got some water in my ear when I took a shower. But how annoying is that, you know? Okay, I've been to the beach in a long time. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop B5, A6, bishop A4. Of course, bishop takes C6 is for noobs and young Bobby Fischer. That's just really lame. We don't want to see that. No. Thrinson would never play bishop takes C6. This is such a chicken move. Okay, bishop A4, now knight F6, castles. And then his opponent played bishop C5. I think I played this once. One of my only black side of the roulette pezzas maybe ever. I beat National Master Nasser Abbasi with the black pieces in this at the Boylston Chess Club in the mid-90s. Unbelievable. Neo Archangel's creation? For some reason I thought it was called something else. I didn't know it was called the Neo Archangelsk. So the normal Archangelsk is just, you know, B5, bishop B3, and then you either play bishop C5 or bishop B7. I don't know, for some reason I thought this was attributed to like Alyakhin. It's like you're playing the classical Berlin classical, but you're playing A6 and bishop A4. Cooking Rooks, welcome, sir. Sire, spectacular camel. I'm just trying to get the water out of my ear. It's driving me freaking insane. It's like making this little clicking sound. Okay. It's been bugging me for like 2 days. I'll try not to think about it. This is a weird move. So I've got the opening explorer turned on. You see bishop c5 attacking your f2 pawn. I don't think the inclination is to like pull your rook away from f2. No, the answer, Mr. Coffee, is I could. Theoretically. The English teacher. So one interesting possibility is knight takes e5. Knight takes e5, knight takes e5, d4. Forking. Getting the piece back. That's happening in the normal Berlin classical anyway. I don't know the historical reasoning for this, but for some reason this opening was never really an established variation in the old days. But it's interesting to look at the statistics here. So Magnus Carlsen, Anand from 2001, and then 21, 21, 21, 21, 2018. Everything else is from like 21. Oh my god. So the general status of this is that it's very, very trendy in the last 3 years. You know, the other thing I was thinking about was this. Maybe my game with Nasser Abbasi. I'm thinking about playing bishop c5 now. What if you play it now? That's called classical defense deferred. I can't remember my game if I played knight f6 first or not. It was years ago. Maybe one of the only black sides of the Royal Pez I ever played. Certainly the only one I ever won. Okay, here we go. So bishop a4, knight f6, castles, bishop c5. Yeah, I mean, I think the normal reaction is c3. And now after b5, we transpose. This absolutely transposes to an Archangelsk. But you can choose between bishop e3 and bishop c2. But I think more interesting than that are these like murky other variations, like bishop a7. Just rare examples where that was played. Bishop b6 seems kind of weird in a way. Or castles, of course. So anyway, I think c3 is white's main move. Knight e5 is possible, and you know, stuff like d3. d3 is just really like chicken style. How do you like your chicken? This is just a fully chicken move. White has a negative score in this position. Holy shit. Nakamura played it against Caruana. I mean, you might. Why play the Royal Pez if you're gonna play like d3? Man, white has a negative score. This is so bad. So c3 is the way to go for it, I guess. There is also bishop takes c6. Got a Kamsky. What's the sense in a delayed exchange variation here? I don't see it. I think you've got to play c3. Although this also is interesting. Knight takes c5. Looks like no one plays it anymore. What's the problem with this, anyway? Is there a problem, officer? Knight e5, d4, b5, bishop b3, bishop takes. Do you have a problem, officer? Bishop takes, queen takes. This looks familiar. d6, threatening c5 and c4. Noah's Ark trap. This is apparently the problem. Alright. On the downside, it allows exchange of pieces, simplifying the game. But I you know, we'll go from here now. We're out of book, sort of, after rook e1. I mean, you know, honestly, what would Astrobate do? You know, like the fishing pole? But the thing is, like, white can play rook e2, I would think. I mean, if it works on the black side of the Joko piano, it has to be okay here. I'm not sure that knight g4 is justified. In fact, like, I kind of doubt it is a justifiable move. f5, bro. Bring it on. Unbelievable. Therefore, rook f1. Offer draw. Draw. Clear draw. If you want to play for the win, you have to play rook e2. Then black goes f5. Laughs at you. Takes. Castles. With insanity. Alright, enough of that. I don't really like Thomas' choice with rook e1. But, okay. So now, what does his opponent play? b5, bishop b3. Again, knight g4 is played 4 times here. One good player. Funny. I still prefer rook e2. Okay, black plays castles. This is more principled. So we transpose to Perenyi Bela versus Mate Gaspar, the legendary Hungarian attacker and late ghost versus coach, doing battle. Now, could we transpose to something real here? c3. Okay, rook e1, just like, it's just a move protecting the e4 pawn in what appears to be like a normal Archangelsk now. It's just a move. It protects the pawn. Black played kind of passively with h6, and then bam, we have a good game. Suddenly white just has a good game because black played passive chess. Instead of h6, can we come up with something better? Some people went as far as to play d5. Wow. So this is the Perenyi versus Gaspar, Mate Gaspar game. E takes d5. Knight takes d5 like a marshal. Like a really weird marshal. Perenyi Bela. Knight e5, knight e5, rook e5. c6. He just took. That's weird. d4. It's exactly like a marshal. It's a marshal transposition. I remember watching De Fermian play this with Igor Ivanov. I guess De Fermian was white. It was in like Igor's last US championship in 2002. He drew with De Fermian. This is just a known line of the marshal. That's funny. Can actually transpose to the marshal. Yeah, but I don't like h6. So instead d6, d4, bishop b6, and now we're going to transpose to h3 is like a standard Archangelsk. Bishop e3 is another variation. We just transpose to a normal Archangelsk, but h6 is slow. So that's interesting. Now he can't maintain his center, so he's basically screwed, no? Isn't black... Guys, speak up. Isn't black just sort of in big trouble after this? I mean, unless... Maybe you can allow the capture on e5 and go fishing with knight g4. You can't do that. I mean, this is just... This can't be... Can this possibly be sound? Something like that. Stronk. What does white play? Rook e2? Hypothetical variation. White is better. Like, check out the center. Herein lies the problem. We got a serious problem if you retreat. So he sacks a rook. Holy shit. This is a real move. This is really interesting. This is a literal variation. Wow. But this ain't a literal variation. Man, white has knight takes e5. Okay. So if Thomas got this position, it would be like critical. No. Sorry, Ripun. D takes e5, knight g4 is a mistake. You have to play knight takes e5, knight takes e5, d takes e5, knight g4, queen takes g4. No, that's a problem. So knight e5 just refutes it. So black's in big trouble. What's he gonna do? He gives up a center. Okay. Now white has e5. Ultra violent, but considering that black doesn't have a good square to put his knight on, this is coming in handy now. I mean, black doesn't have knight g4. He's like losing a piece. He's gonna have to sack his knight, like knight takes, king takes, pawn, check. You know, king f1, and black is just lost variation. Or retreat the knight back to a bad square, which means like knight h7. And then black is basically getting destroyed like a total beginner. Wow. So Thomas, your move is probably good as well, but this looks even more devastating. It's really devastating. I mean, knight h7, pawn takes pawn, bishop b4, knight c3, and I just don't think that black can defend against this power space advantage that white has here. It's instructive. So this is the game. Instead of playing e5, he hesitated and played cd. Black plays bishop here, and now bishop d2. I don't like this move. This bishop on c1 is just a killer, dude. It's a killer piece. I don't want to trade it for the bishop on b4, which is essentially misplaced. But we have to be careful because black might be able to break. Like say here, here. Our white still has a huge advantage in this line, for example. But I think it's not as huge as e5. But I don't really think this is as good. It's a little hesitant. Alright, still white is clearly better. Maybe black should play like d5 now. Try to get some semblance of control of the center. Yeah, Mr. Coffee, knight on bd2 is a move as well. I'm even thinking of exchange sacrifices like d5, e5. You know, you might be able to do some kind of crazy stuff here. You have to evaluate all kinds of possibilities, like takes, the Aster mate. I mean, come on, man. There's no way black's surviving this. It's +5. Bishop e4. But apparently the move bishop d2 is good. Naturally he trades pieces. That's the only thing I don't like. I don't like our pieces getting exchanged, but at the same time he is mobilizing his other, his other rook gets in, his other knight gets in. White still has a huge advantage. I thought maybe he would try d5. But he's just screwed, right? I mean, e5, knight e4, pawn e4, rook e4. It's hard to imagine that black has anywhere near compensation for the sacrificed pawn. I think he's just lost. Anything else is bad. So black just doesn't even move in the center. He just goes there. And then knight f1. You know, again, it feels like Thomas is hesitating a little bit too much. Like, we should just go for the jugular here a bit more. Of course, he has to play knight h7. I mean, e8's even worse. This is brutal. White's control of the center is just devastating. I mean, it's game over. Probably even d5 is strong. Rook c1. +2 based on central control. So I think this is like too hesitant a little, but it's still not bad. Now black definitely has to play d5. I mean, you better play d5 now, man. Gotta play it. And then like stick the knight on e4 and pray. That's my only suggestion. I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? It looks bad. It's a really, 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 really bad open row de Pez for black. But what's better than that? I don't know. Like, what's he gonna do? This? He has to play like that. This is depressing for black. He has no center. Rook e8. Now check out f7. Jeez, finally e5. Knight h7. Knight g3. And white doesn't have like a concrete threat at the moment. He plays king f8. Ugh. Queen d3, and now you got to at least try knight g5, maybe? I guess here, g6, queen f4. Yeah, maybe black could play on. Or you can take on g5 and get the queen in on h7, like here, queen h7. But he can force the trade of queens. It's horrible for black. This is just a really bad game. By black, not by Tomas. He's crushing this guy. g6. Weakening his king side. This is way, way too hesitant. But I don't know what to say. I guess he just didn't want to see knight b4. But you've got d5. That looks really brutal. A little more bloodthirsty, I think. We want to be a little more bloodthirsty here. a3 just feels too slow for the situation. We might allow this guy to survive. Then the Azerbaijan move, knight h4. That's pretty weird. But I guess the black king is going to hide out on g7. But I still think, why not just blast him with d5? I think Tomas is just, you know, he's just not bloodthirsty enough, like a real... He's not a real Viking. I don't know. We have to be more bloodthirsty here with white. And then the opponent will remember this beating for the rest of his life. Tomas is being too gentle. Knight h4. And then black holds onto that d5 square here. I mean, I keep getting afraid that black's going to hang on here if we hesitate too much. Now he's established good control of d5. That seems unnecessary. And the problem is, like, combinations. You could play knight takes g6 check. Pawn takes. Bishop takes d5. Queen f3 check. But he's up a knight, so he can give one back. Now, there's some chance like black might survive here. That's my fear, really. Does by some miraculous act of God, black survive to like an equal endgame or something if we're not careful? You know, that's a serious possibility. I don't like giving black control of the d5 square. I mean, this is also bishop d5, knight d5, queen f3. You know, it's like, it's a bad position when the Arabic players are exclaiming Jesus. So queen f3. Yeah, this is not sure exactly how I have to finish black off here. He decided to avoid exchanging pieces, which is alright, but we're still not finishing him off. What are we gonna do now? Like play f4, f5. He does it. He does it. Boom. Yeah, it's like Ice Cube. There is this Ice Cube song, Stompin' in My Big Black Boots. That's what comes to my mind when I see this. This is f4, f5. Like the pre-sold out Ice Cube stomping in his big black boots with the f4, f5. Just stomping on black with a giant foot in his face here. Not really what we expected, but it works. Knight f8, and then, oof, that happened fast, man. So what about, whatever happened to blockading, you know? What would Capablanca do? Remember, does anybody know the famous game? Does anyone know the famous game, it's Capablanca against Botvinnik. Botvinnik Capablanca in the Nimzo, where Capablanca almost defended with the blockade, like f5. You gotta try f5, right? But there's the laser beam. What do you sack now? Knight takes g6, I say. We gotta try this. Knight g6, knight g6. My god, man. Good god, man. Look at that power. The power here. Connect 4 with queen takes f5. And the knight h5 check. +4. Cooking Rooks, thanks for donating. Dr. Chipchance, a sub. Dr. Chipchance 1996. Our veterinary expert in the house. Damn, dude, this is brutal. So f5. You don't take en passant, although that's probably a good move. You just sack on g6 with a winning position. How about king takes, knight takes f5? Also rather unpleasant for black. Chances of survival, 0.2%. That's just brutal. Dastardly. So it's over. f4, knight f8, bam. And now he tries to survive with g, but it's not going to work, dude. f6 check. Connect 4. Almost connect 4. Durabai is raiding with a party of 40. Nice. Yo, Jeff. Thank you very much for the raid. Grandmaster Durabai. He's done a lot of good blogs here on lichess. Check him out. I like the blog. Thank you for the raid. Also, of course, a streamer here. I haven't been seeing you so much. You're probably playing tournament chess. Kim Chi 6. Thank you for the raid, guys. Yeah, I really like his blogs. f6 check, king g8. Knight h5. The thumbnails are... Yeah, he does the best thumbnails. Knight takes f5, knight takes f5. Black's king cannot survive. The pawn chain is just like severing the board in half, and you cannot survive. I mean, just simply like queen h3, queen h6, and mate, you know, on the king side is inevitable. I thought this was a great execution with f4, but that's a surprise. You know, I thought white was going to win by direct piece attack, and suddenly out of the blue came like f4, f5. It's ironic because his rook isn't even on f1. I mean, normally when you play this type of pawn advance, you'd want to have like, you know, rook and f1, build it up. And his rook is on e1. GM Durabali was last seen playing chess, surprisingly. Cooking Rooks, thank you. What did you do now? Oh, I thought Cooking Rooks did something. We got a raid from Grandmaster Durabali. Very strong player. He's gone for 2,900 here. I saw in lichess. Did he make it grinding to 2,900? Very nice game by Thomas Treinson. Alright, we're on to the next one. Our assistant and longtime subscriber Yubades has submitted a game. He played on the evil chess site that shall not be named. He's known as Mr. Bites. Obviously because that site bites. Perfect name, but we won't talk about that. Alright, Mr. Bites is playing black. This is, well, these ratings are a little deflated, perhaps. So, on lichess, Mr. Bites is running around 2,300 in rapid. Is that correct? Mr. Coffee, remind me to raid Grandmaster Durabali if we see him streaming. I hadn't seen him around streaming for a while. Thank you very much for the raid. Thanks, raiders, for joining us. We're just analyzing games submitted by our subscribers. Sir Bites. Every Thursday night I do this. We try to go into deep analysis, in-depth analysis. So e4, Mr. Bites is black. e4, e5. He's 2250. Knight f3, and then, yes, there it is, the elephant gambit. Alright, I'm not going to say this is a legit opening, but there are players who play it. You know, look at the database. You got Bashir Legrave there, Hebden. I remember Mark playing it in Blitz. The guy Skachkov repeatedly played it, I guess, early on and never stopped playing it. I think the Elephant Gambit is dubious, but probably not bad for a surprise weapon. Preferably in faster time controls, like rapid. Blitz definitely, but rapid. It's a little rough playing it, I think, in slow chess. But here we've got rapid chess. Game 5, let's see, 5 minutes? Blitz. Actually, it's Blitz. Even better. Holy shit. Cooking Rooks just donated 20 gift subs to the stream. Wow. Dude, what are you doing? Liberian, haven't seen in a long time. Hokum. Parmenides, also. There's a lot of players who haven't been on in a long time. Wow. Cooking Rooks 20 gift subs to the stream. I can't even, like, list all the players he just gift subbed. Hokum, Liberian, Strong Coffee. Wow, dude. That's huge. Huge 20 gift subs from Cooking Rooks. Dude, super generous. 600 seconds equals 10 minutes. Thank you. So this is technically rapid chess, although... Wow, I lost my concentration. Sorry. Cooking Rooks with 20 gift subs. Wow. Alright, I'm going to need to drink another beer. Dragon B 70 quit Twitch. Kim Chi. He's probably back to playing live chess again. You know that Dragon B, my friend told me, we're not close friends, but I mean, I know him from tournaments here in Hungary, and he was like one of the most active tournament players, like, here in Budapest. So I would imagine that with the pandemic kind of not being a big deal, he's being one of the most active tournament players in over the board chess is definitely going to make it hard to do like chess streaming. I would imagine they could do one or the other, but it's very hard to do both. So he's probably back to playing in tournaments again. Knight takes e5, bishop d6 now. Yeah, so the main move is actually pawn takes d5. This is considered the main line. I've only actually had the elephant gambit played against me like once, and it was 20 years ago by a 1900 player in a rapid tournament, or no, action chess, so game 30. I think it was game 30, maybe game 60. Actually, game 60. Once in my chess career, I've had the elephant played against me. Or sister. Brother, beverage brother. But here's the important question. If pawn takes pawn, I'm not going to do a class on the elephant gambit, but Yabadis and I discussed this, and he likes bishop d6 better. You can see Simon Williams has a game here, like a long time ago against David Howell. But other than that, I mean, there's very few high-rated players who have been willing to try it. This guy, Philip Corbin, there's a book by some players on Elephant Gambit, and whoever he is, he's played it pretty consistently. So he had a couple nice wins, but I mean, it's hard. Hebden used to play this in Blitz. But the question is, like, e4, queen e2, that's supposed to be the main line. I mean, I think it's a little awkward for white to put the queen on e2, obviously. So a lot of people may not like find the right line over the board. I don't know. Here you can see someone played against Ivanchuk, and I was commenting on this like earlier this week. My opinion is that like this is a game from 2021 with a player, maybe one of I don't know. His name is Gadim Bailey, like Dura Bailey. Maybe he's a countryman of Yojef, but personally, I think it's a very stupid decision to play such an opening when you get a chance to play a player like Ivanchuk. As a IM or whatever, I don't know why anybody would do that. You don't want to waste a chance against a really good player by playing the elephant gambit. Anyway, enough lecture. So white played knight takes e5. This is considered like second best. Bishop d6. Now d4. Pawn takes e4, getting the pawn back. And now mostly people played this against me. This seems like a solid choice. I mean, oftentimes white will grab the bishop on d6. What about this, Yabadis? What do you think about bishop e7? Is that a thing? It looks slow. It looks too slow to move the bishop again to preserve it from being exchanged off. But I'm not an expert. I've played a bunch of games where I guess I played like knight f6 here. It feels like black's playing the Latvian, but you're not down a pawn. That's the good thing. Every time I played this position, I was like, oh man, my position sucks. And then I've been like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not down a pawn. Okay, it's not that bad. My position just sucks. I'm not down a pawn as well, so that's typically the point I reach at some point where I realize I actually have equal material. So Spectacular Camel thinks you shouldn't move the bishop. You could take back with the pawn, possibly, to unite your pawn brothers. But anyways, I think this is a better line. So instead, white played here, and this is the kind of thing that people play when they don't know the variation, attacking f7. So take is basically forced. This is bad, I think, for obvious reasons. And this is bad also for obvious reasons. You have to do this. You have to do this, and then white has this move, queen h5, it turns out. And obviously our hero here with the white pieces was unaware of this. Threat to mate, and then hitting e5 with check. So this move allows white to keep some kind of small advantage, it seems. We looked at queen takes d4. This is insane. There's actually a game where two women players, no, maybe not, but two players here played queen takes d4, queen f7 check, king d8. And this is crazy. Like, you'd have to be nuts to play this for black. I mean, queen f8, check, king d7. They check out black's king in the middle of the board. Like, there's no way that you can be okay here. Bishop takes g8, and black's king is just like standing in the middle of the board. The number one most important principle in chess is king safety, I think. You want to have a safe king, and your opponent, you want your opponent not to have a safe king. In this case, our king is unsafe. That's to our opponent's advantage. We don't want to be there. Of course, the elephant gambit isn't for the faint of heart. But after queen h5, you have to play queen e7, queen e5, queen e5, d5, for example, or queen e7, d5, and then we discuss this. And this is holdable for black, it looks like. You neutralize his bishop on c4, and you play basically, threat of queen b4 check. You play to trade off the enemy bishop pair. So I think this is probably playable for black. So in the game, instead, our hero didn't see that. Actually, Sparkle Horse. It's the other spectacular camel is a hero here, but the white is taking with the pawn on e5, allowing this ending after queen d1, king d1. So now it's like, well, what's going on? I mean, white can't castle, which might not be a big deal in the ending. In the end game, the king's safety is not as big a problem, and oftentimes the king should be in the center. But it still might affect white, like his ability to say get his rook in the game is inhibited, whereas black can castle queenside, possibly move the quick rook to d8 or something. So that matters. Otherwise, the position would be equal, I guess. We both have a weak pawn that's potentially a problem. But I mean, black has the first attack on the pawn, which is bawing. Knight c6. So we're, he has a piece developed, but we're the first one to attack the key central pawn. So white defends. Check. I guess this is a reasonable move. Because if you play bishop e2, we could take and play knight d4 check, which looks very uncomfortable for white. So he decides to play king c1. But the problem again is that rook. The king is not unsafe necessarily, but how does white get his rook in the game if he can't castle? It's not really a question of king safety. So bishop g4 check, king c1, knight e7, threatening knight g6, which in turn will threaten the bishop and threaten the pawn to d5. Knight c3, counterattacking. Here, bishop g3. We take and we're hitting the bishop here. And white finds a good move, bishop d5, double attacking this diagonal and there. And I don't know what black should play now. But I mean, it's hard to argue with this. You could have saved the pawn, camel. Try to save your pawn. We didn't really look at this. Welcome everybody to the stream. We're just in the middle of analysis here of one of our subscribers' games. This is a 10-minute game from the Evil Chess site. What I wonder about is if f5, can white play f3, cracking that central wall? Can we get something going against the black king here? If f3, for example, pawn takes pawn, is this a problem? I would think so. Yes, Alex, this is a problem. Cookie Brooksman, thank you for the donation. 20 gift subs and a raid from Grandmaster Durabali. Check out his stream as well. And again, the blog is very cool. So rook e1 looks good. Is f3 sound? Yes. f3 is sound. In fact, if you take, you're just lost. But the computer prefers the move order bishop takes e5. Wow. So rook e1 doesn't work because of like f2 or something? Oh my gosh. That actually loses. Wow. That's unbelievable. Bishop takes e5. Knight takes e5, and only then rook e1 works? Wow. Alright. So instead you played castles queenside, bishop takes e4, rook e8, and then f3, bishop h5, b3. He's giving his king a square to go to, and this is where it gets interesting. So it looks like it's like equal. Thank you, Mr. Coffee. White has the bishop pair, symmetrical structure, but he has strong point on e4. The problem for white is his king, getting in the way of the rook getting into the game. The plan was king c1, king b2, thus b3. And the dark squares aren't really a problem because white is the only one with a dark squared bishop. So I think that white is okay here. Plan is okay so far. Bishop takes g6. I guess black's threatening f5 or not. Maybe white panics a little bit here. But the problem is if you play king b2, don't we have this penetration no matter what? We're going to be coming down on the 7th. One way or another, when that king moves away from c1, black's going to be threatening to penetrate into the 7th rank in enemy territory. I'm not sure if white should exchange on g6. He did this in the game. I've seen a lot of games lately in my experience where I'm teaching other players, and it seems like very often the problem is chess players don't realize that there are 3 results in chess. Draws are a legitimate result. A draw is half a point, and it's better than losing. It's a lot better than losing. In fact, there are 3 possible results. One is horrible, one is great, and one is okay. But people don't seem to stop to think about, at what point will we accept a draw? I'm looking at chess from a tournament standpoint. As a tournament competitor, I've always been very conscious of this. A draw is half a point. I'm gaining points in tournaments. I'm playing for points in tournaments. Where does white draw the line here? Is he trying to draw or is he trying to win? If he's trying to draw, should he consider? This is why I went into this long spiel. But should we consider taking on c6 at some point? Basically, maybe white should consider this. If he's well, I'm not better anymore. Maybe at some point I should do this. Can we go for opposite-colored bishops and say, hey, this is very drawish? Opposite-colored bishops is very drawish. But not necessarily, because here, rook d2, actually opposite-colored bishops with the heavy pieces on the board isn't necessarily drawish. It might actually make Yabatis' advantage bigger. But at least it's a conversation you need to have with yourself. Which exchange will give me a better chance of just drawing, without necessarily being worse. He decides to take here. I guess it's still okay, but it feels like a minor concession. Bishop takes g6, h takes g6 toward the center. If knight e4, we can play f5. And now white plays king b2, which is actually a blunder. So you've got a very harmless looking position that's basically equal, or it looks equal. And white manages to lose it very, very quickly here. Could he consider giving up his bishop? Well, this doesn't really solve the problem. I think here black's pieces get more active. Maybe rook d1, going for exchanges. This looks like the best try, because this knight has nowhere to go. There's nothing happening on the e-file, effectively. If we trade this rook off, I think that white is going to have a good chance to hold a draw. Not easy, but because black's pieces are very active, I think he has a good chance to draw. But watch what happens here. He plays king b2 blindly, just following his previous plan, and then bam, we're down in the 7th rank and suddenly hitting this, and then collecting pawns on the 7th rank. There's also really nasty knight check, thanks to knight d3. So it looks like the best defense is some kind of pawn sack, like there. Just like giving up a pawn, maybe. But he plays another horrible blunder. Passively defending pawn. And now black's just winning. There's just no defense of the d4 knight attacking c2 with the rook. I don't think that you can defend at all. So white's just lost in 2 moves. Rook d2, rook hd1, knight d4, and then he, like, most people make this kind of mistake typically. You make one blunder and then the next blunder is a result of the last one. Like, you're upset, so now it gets worse. Rook c1, bam. And this is so cute. I like how those pieces are stacked up there in like a little formation. Knight d3 check, and then takes. And white just simply resigned. Because if he takes to the king, he loses another piece to rook takes c3 check. So his only option is to take with the rook and like just drop this pawn on g2. We're down a clear exchange and the pawn with a bad structure. It's hopeless. So good game, Ubatis. Devastating endgame technique on the black side of the elephant gambit. Alright, so the next game is Resonance Spectre. Are you out there, Resident Spectre? Resident Inspector. Who is here today? We've given out 20. Cooking Works has gifted 21 gift subs. GM Tranquilizer in the house. We have another raid I didn't see. GM Tranquilizer in the house. Is that the fake Tranquilizer? Snuggles the Snail. Say hi. Alright guys, let's get started on the next game. I usually take too long analyzing these games, and as a result, the stream ends up going too long, and I just am like exhausted after like 4 hours, so I need to be more businesslike. Goichu, welcome. Snuggles the Snail. Good to see you. Long time no see. So this is Resonance Spectre. He's not to be, or he or she is not to be confused with Resident Inspector. Alright, Resident Inspector playing white. This is our first analysis game with Resident Spectre. This game is time control of 15 plus 10. No, I'm just making that up. It's been a long day and I'm kind of drunk with tiredness. I only drank half a beer, but I'm kind of silly. Being silly. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, and then e3. The ever popular Rubinstein, so-called Rubinstein system against the Nimzo. This is something that's kind of out of fashion. I think it's a real lost art. You know, people knowing how to play this line with white. When I grew up, back in the prehistoric era, this was considered to be the main line of the Nimzo. Nowadays, I think that most people prefer to play other moves like Queen c2 or f3. But, you know, this modest move e3, I think leaves white with a lot of different potential plans. So black has many different options as well. Castle, c5, b6. Both sides have a lot of different possible plans here. Black plays b6, the so-called like Fischer variation, I guess. Now you have an option to play knight on e2, which is something that I never played. There were some famous games, I don't really remember. Fischer definitely might have had a game in my 60 memorable games. They're not that memorable for me. knight e2, bishop a6. This is a main line. a3, and then black can go back or like take. That's a really important variation. The idea of being like take, take, and d5, black plays it like a French. I know one American player, international master Ron Burnett. He used to play this with black. It's a solid line. Wasn't e4 a move by Leela? Alright. e4 a move by Leela. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, e4 a move by Leela? Maybe. I didn't know that. Sacking a pawn. It looks like somebody played it against the Brazilian Sunya Neto. Oh, you're talking about like later? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, you're talking about in this variation with b6. Anyways, okay, knight e2 is a line, but white also can play, of course, like bishop d3 or knight f3. I don't know about that. That looks weird, but it's apparently played. I guess this could arise from an f3 Nimzo. It would be f3. You know, it would be like an f3 right away. Black plays b6, and then you decide to play like e3. So it's like a transposition. That doesn't look right to me, though. I've never really played this variation for either side a lot of games. Although I played the same as Resonance Inspector, Resonance Spectre with bishop d3 when I have faced it. I had this line years ago against the aforementioned Ron Burnett in a game in the World Open. So Roman Cicic, back in the day, like 25 years ago, he got me to play knight e2. He talked me into this variation with knight e2. This was back way before most of these games in the database. Yeah, maybe there were some games. It was probably like 1996, around the same time as some of those earlier games. Yeah, Gingy de Fermian, 1996. We were working together back then. Remember Roman playing this game with de Fermian. But this line here is, I think computers have shown that white's not really maybe 100% sound sacrificing this pawn. So it lost its attractiveness, I think, when it started to become well analyzed. For example, I had to really struggle against Burnett not to lose. I ended up drawing when I sacked the pawn against him. So this is like way safer. Knight f3. Now we have knight e4. This is so-called Dutch variation, I think. Black plays knight e4 with the idea of f5. Now white doesn't have to play queen c2. This is an important point. You can sack a pawn here. So Resonance Inspector plays queen c2, but it's not absolutely necessary. So I think it's better to castle. The idea being that you can sack this pawn here. So knight c3, pawn c3, bishop c3, rook b1. I mean, the bishop is on, going to be stuck on a5, and white has terrific compensation for the sacrificed pawn. If you play it the other way, black can probably play like bishop takes, pawn takes. I don't know about this. That looks kind of crazy. But apparently it's been played. I think there's something with bishop takes f3. Okay, I never really looked at this. Yeah, bishop takes f3. So Urban Lamy and Wojtasek. So there's a bunch of games. Well, this is interesting. Well, elaborate on compensation. I mean, I can't go into too much more. This is a matter of, kind of intuition, but I mean, dude, White has more development, and he's starting to play e4 and has totally dominant control of the center. I mean, I would think that's pretty evident compensation. This is massive lead in control of the center and mobility. I mean, I don't really want to play black here. You know, maybe the computer might want to play black in this position, but white has a huge initiative, and not just initiative, but space. So, you know, it might not even like matter in terms of time. Alright, anyways, so you play queen c2. It's a normal move, but it might be a valuable loss of time. f5, castles, and now knight takes c3. This I am not familiar with. Maybe it's good. But I think white has the ability to play e4, right? So, for example, this is my first time really analyzing this, but if b takes, bishop takes f3, I see. You have queen g5 coming in. Yeah, this is my first time looking at this. So this is what? Queen g5, g3, queen g4 threatening mate, rook e1. Rudolf Ponomarev, not to be confused with Ruslan Ponomarev, clearly. Knight c6. Wow. Rudolph Valentino. Yeah, I don't like the look of this. You see, this is where you started to pay the price for that queen c2 move. The more I look at it, the more I think I don't like it. You know, it's really a valuable loss of time. I mean, if your queen was back here protecting f3, this would not be nearly as dangerous. So queen c2 costs you there. f5, castles, and now bishop takes c3 is the normal approach. That's like the main line. See here, Caruana. So bishop takes, b takes, castles. Black plays, this is the way that Nimzovich would have played it. d6, knight d7, queen f6, sometimes rook f6. Judith Polgar has played rook f6, rook h6 against Kramnik. There's a lot of different ways to play, but this is slightly unusual. Knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes f3, and now you have to take it back, okay? And now your kingside pawn structure is slightly compromised. Notice the games here in the Opening Explorer. There's a game from 1991 in Gligorich versus Pavlovich. So it's not a completely new idea. There's a game from 1988. Yeah, this actually has some history to it. They're probably older games that are not in the database. The one thing about the Opening Explorer on lichess, it's missing a lot of historical games. It would be nice to see those games from like the 70s and 60s that aren't in here. Black, I don't know, black can play maybe like queen h4. What's up with queen h4? Does the bishop get trapped? Oh no, our bishop's hanging. We have to move it. Alright. Bishop d6. Duh. Sometimes I forget the obvious. Bishop d6. Threatening, obviously, like check and queen h4. White has f4, of course. So this is like computer analysis, I assume. Tony Miles, 1991. That's the only older game in this position. I never had this position for either side. So what about f4? See, the thing about this, it's going to come down to concrete calculation. You're going to try to blot the bishop out with e5. That's the question. And it just goes back. Does white have anything here? To me, man, there's even a recent game, Tanya Sakdev, 2021. Although it looks like there's a lot of correspondence games. I don't know. I don't know most of these players' names, so I assume that they're correspondence games. The vast majority of them. Brynel Tikkanen is a real game. These are good players, both GMs. For example. Other than that, the only one I'm sure about is the Sakdev game from last September. Yeah, that looks tricky, but at least White's relatively safe, it looks like, after this. White's probably okay. King h1. And Tikkanen tries to trade off. You know, I don't know where this was played. Some Scandinavian tournament or possibly the Chess Olympics. But, because Tikkanen is Finnish and Brynel is from Sweden. But black here, interesting thing, he's like trying to trade off the bishop. He successfully trades off the bishop and eliminates White's bishop pair, but then has a knight versus bishop in a closed structure. So I think that black is okay. Yeah, I've never seen this line before. I didn't know this was played. So you actually got this position. What about f4? This is the game from 1991. Miles, maybe the first person to play this with black. Very positional player. So, Queen h4 anyway. Black would like to play like Rook f8, Rook f6, etc. f3, lateral guard. This is not the way they played in the Miles game, though. So Miles played what, g5? No. What did Miles play? He did Queen h4. Where did that game go? White must have played a different move. King h1. Nope. White played Queen e2, which looks reasonable. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing special for White, but it looks okay. This is your problem. Your bishop on c1 is a big problem, but you have so much space, I think you're alright. I don't know, this position is really tough to say which way White should play with f4 or e4. So now you play Queen e2, like preventing bishop g5. That's pretty deep. And this is played in this correspondence game from 2010. So in the correspondence game, which are primarily, you know, engine games, White played King h1, Black played g5, White played Rook g1, possible exchange sacrifice, Queen h5, Queen e2. It just looks like White isn't better. I'm not surprised the game was a draw. Yeah, I don't think you're better, and I think you'd be careful not to be worse. But you're much, much safer with the queens off the board. And I think your bad bishop has fairly good scope now, so it's probably equal. I also don't love your winning chances with just bishops in a closed structure. Yeah, maybe this king has to consider trying to get to the center. Another possibility is like Rook e1, trying to push through to a d5. Is there any way to avoid the draw? Well, alright, we'll take a look. But I think you may want to rethink your entire approach to the opening. I mean, this variation may not promise White anything. Black, I mean, both sides played pretty well here. I think at this point, you know, you can see it's a correspondence game. Both sides are using computers, and the game was a draw. That's a risky move because black's like light squares are weak. I don't think a computer would play that. That looks like a particularly risky move. In fact, it was the computer's move. Wow, second best. Whoa. Black has played this game how fast? Okay, I have no idea. This is a rated rapid game. He's on move 19. We're not in book anymore though. D6 is a top move. I'm surprised because it looks like these pawns are weak. I mean, though D6 is a natural break, I think a lot of human players would be afraid to play that. I would certainly be afraid to play D6 because this is like, if your white squared bishop like kills him because of that, he didn't have to play that move, you know. Black's actually playing for a win here with this move. Bishop takes. Yeah, this doesn't look good. This really doesn't look good. This is like a dead end. Your rook's doubled up on the g-file. You're actually worse now. Feels like you might be playing a computer. The d6 move is suspicious. That's very strong. But maybe not. Maybe you just got lucky. Yeah, rook g7 is a mistake. Wow. I don't want to just leave the engine on. Bogachog. Hey, any room left? I just finished an OTB classical game. I have just enough. Bogachog and Move 11 can be our last games for today. If you guys want to submit your games. Alright, that's it. That's the last straw. Unless somebody comes in and like offers to put in a game for like 5,000 bits or something. Man, I really thought that black might be an engine when you played d6 there. It's just like a really good move. Now black's better. Move 11 gifting a sub to the community. Kosachi. So you have an f4 breaking. You know, that's a difficult move to judge. But if here, what do you do? See, this is where it's going to come down to very complicated stuff based on d5. And that's going to fall. It's very hard to judge this position. He tried to make a solid move. But honestly, he should get off the line and try to trade bishops, probably. I would say. I don't know how to do it, though. Knight e7, knight g6, knight f4, if possible. I like black now because of the pawn structure. You played h4. This is okay. But I think like f4 is better. That's your doubled pawn. But you have to see this, I guess. Like, you can't play h3, obviously. I guess, you know, you can play f3, but you obviously can't open the h file without some slight risk. You got to be careful about your king position. I wish your king was on e2, you know, rather than h1. Thanks, Mr. Coffee, for the donation, 300 bits. Maybe a hype train on the way. Do we have a hype train? Thanks for Durabati raiding earlier, and of course we're cooking rooks with the massive 20 sub donation. Alright, let me put these games in and we'll finish this game up. Alright, hot dog. Open. Add game. I gotta turn the engine off. It's like slowing down my computer. Oh no, what did I do? What did I do? Oh no, what am I doing? Alright, 1 second. Did I do that right? Why is my computer so slow? Here, add game. Thanks, Poo11. Thanks, Hot Dog. Booga Dog. Baggio. Alright. Was that right? Did I add the right game? Okay. And... yeah, are both games in there? I didn't add Hot Dog. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me. We're going to finish this game up here. When was my last hot dog? Good question. I keep thinking like I had hot dogs at breakfast in Austria, but I can't remember. Open. I don't think so. I remember my last hot dog. Why am I having such trouble adding a game? Study, analysis stream. There we go. Alright. Alright. Now I can close. Oh my god, I did it. Oops. We closed the window. Alright. You can't see anything now. You're blind. The blind leading the blind. Alright. Puzzles, learn, study. My studies. Strategy analysis stream. No. We're full of games, but you can submit a game for next week, Repun. I've got any games that go over the limit will be added for next week's automatically. Window capture. Sorry for the lights out, sorry. Turning them back on here. Right, there we go. Lights are back on. Okay. So we're finishing up this game 3. Romance Inspector. I would appreciate if people would submit the games earlier instead of waiting to the last minute. Move 14, no. No, much later. I got up to this point, you know, where you're playing a rook g7 already. A f4 was stronger. How do we get game analysis? I'm in bed with COVID. Oh my god. Tell COVID to get out of the bed. What's COVID doing there with you? This is a very bad structure. Very hard to play. When he plays, let's see. I mean, in the first place, I mean, d5 is pretty complicated. Like, that move is very dangerous. This is a risky move by black to play d6. Rook a g1. I don't like this really here. He should get out of the pin. And then also support his f5 pawn in the process. I mean, I guess you could still play h4. But I don't like this situation. You know, if you take on g5, you're mated by his pieces. It's a bad dad joke, but f4 is more realistic. f4 is a lot less risky, and you'd undouble your pawns. So you played h4. Yeah, I like f4. You want to undouble those pawns anyway, right? I think I saw the engine, and I stole its idea. It also gives your king a way out. Oh man. Hello? We've got a problem here with the H file. What are you gonna do? Oh, you just take on g5. You can do that. Unbelievable. And it's... what is this, a draw? Your extra pawn doesn't really do much here for you. You really need to keep a rook on the board. I mean, if you want to try to win it. So that was kind of a smart pawn sack by black. You have to take with the bishop, I guess. I mean, there's no real danger, right? Like, check here, rook check, king f1, you're fine. And then you can slowly, like, wiggle your way out with like, rook g2, king g1, king f1, and walk away. So if you want to win, I mean, the only way to try to win would be to avoid exchanging rooks. Not to say, like, black couldn't possibly lose, but, you know, the less pieces on the board, probably the easier it is for black to hold this. At the same time, white could lose. I mean, you have doubled pawns. They're not so great. So this is like a draw. I mean, I'd imagine white could even lose, theoretically. If we trade dark square bishops and he puts a knight on f4, black's probably slightly better. Yeah, you thought the pawn and bishop pair were enough. Well, I mean, your bishop pair is restricted in a structure where you have no passed pawns. In a relatively blocked structure where you have no passed pawns, and your extra pawn is a doubled pawn. It's a doubled isolated pawn. So it's barely a pawn. You know, you don't have really a strong bishop pair in this type of position, and your doubled pawn is devalued. I don't know about putting his king on b7, or maybe he's going to try to walk up the side of the board. But I like your pawns, they're fluid here. You're trying to undermine his f5 pawn. But I think it's important to be patient. That's the number one move. The number one idea in Cheryshev-Sky's endgame strategy is do not rush. I mean, d5 looks like you're rushing to a fire. It's a very committal move. Well, maybe it's a good move. I personally don't like king b7. I feel like he should stay in the center. But I guess it's obviously a complicated position. Alright. It's becoming less complicated. Right. I mean, this is an important square. And now maybe bishop f4. He played f4. Wow. I don't know if that's a good idea, but we'll see. Yeah, now it's just a dead draw. I will never forgive you. We'll take away your moddership for that, Arsenal. All mods have to have updated subscriptions. Mr. Coffee, that's in the bylaws, isn't it? Mods have to be like tier 3, I thought. Isn't that how you got your mod? Mr. Coffee, tier 3? No, tier 2. Mods have to be tier 2. It's a law. No, tier 2. Mr. Coffee's like, I don't know about that rule. He just donated tier 1 sub. Have one on me this month. But f4, man, I don't know. So why'd you play bishop d1? What about like king h3, king g4, king f5? He'll cut you off with 87. First of all, I think like black put his king in a strange place. It should be in the center. Secondly, white should be trying to get his king toward the center. This looks like a kind of slow move. Bishop there. And now here, well, I mean, I guess you have other ways than taking his knight on e7. I don't know, maybe c4. I'm not sure I like this f4 move by black. And I know I don't like his king being over there in, you know, Southeast Asia or wherever it is. The side of the globe. Like, why is his king on b7? Seriously. This is such a bad move. In fact, let's see what else he could do. Instead of that, I mean, king d7. And now if d5, he could just, like, leave his king protecting the pawn and everything's fine. Dude, seriously, his move is really bad. I mean, king c8 is really bad. King b7 is really bad. I mean, but you rushed it here. And now he's like undoubling one of your sets of doubled pawns, which he probably had to. And I don't like this f4. But maybe it's still a draw, but then it's a dead draw. So if you can win, let's see. Computer thinks it's a draw, but you've got to try. So c4. He has to find b5. This is kind of complicated. Takes, knight takes, bishop b3. I mean, I could see black finding a way to lose this position. But at the end of the day, like, your extra pawn is kind of useless. So it's probably really a draw. But you shouldn't play bishop takes e7. You could just offer a draw. That's just a dead draw. Yeah, nothing to do here. Alright. Mule Skinner is not in the list. I've got Move 11 and then Bogachog. Also Mule Skinner. Let's start with Asterbait. This is for fun. Thanks, Mr. Coffee, for gifting a subscription to Arsenal. You guys should be able to, you should be able to, like, donate an upgrade. They need that new feature. Can you do that? Can you upgrade someone? Can I upgrade, like, Arsenal to tier 2? That's not a thing, right? You can't either, like, buy them a sub or you don't. You can't, like, buy someone an upgrade them the price of, like, tier 1 to tier 2. It would be a cool feature. You can gift any tier, I understand that, but I'm saying, like, you would just pay the difference between tier 1 and tier 2. If I wanted to upgrade Arsenal's subscription, that would be a cool feature. It would complicate the pricing scheme, I guess. Alright, so Arcelbait. Arcelbait with e4, e5, knight c3, knight c6, f4, and now Cooking Rook's novelty d5. I could go into a lecture on this. This is not actually a novelty. There's like a million games in the lichess Opening Explorer. But Cooking Rook's our gift hero played that against Asterbait, and I'll just show you guys how I beat him. f5. Knight f3, and then white at a lost position. After an entire 5 moves, Asterbait was busted, dropping a knight with the white pieces. Yeah, f5 was a nice idea. After d5, pawn takes pawn, knight d4 is like critical. After knight takes, it's interesting because the computer actually likes knight f6 here. I don't think f5 is like in its top 2 suggestions. I think it likes knight f6 and knight e7, like anything that challenges the knight on d5. But f5 was a great move by Cooking Rooks, a very inspired idea to like steal the initiative from the normally aggressive Asterbait. I really like this. Yeah, you have to do like d3, or possibly, no, it turns out bishop b5. Bishop b5 is a nice move, because if takes, we have this Yabatis-like trap with queen h5 check, and takes on e5. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Schliemann style. All beginners should start with a Schliemann. But so Asterbate submitted a game now where his opponent played knight f6. This is one of the common like pissed off or off pissed. It's a little skiing joke. Variations Asterbate gets quite often. How does this work now? F takes e5, what? F takes e5, knight takes e5, d4, yeah. So it's like F takes e5, knight takes e5, d4. You see there's an old game from Hungary in 1993. Knight g6, Karachony Attila, who I didn't know. I don't know these guys, they're too old school. They're probably dead. e5, knight g8, and it's actually not that bad for black. The guy got this far. And so I've actually analyzed this with Asterbate. This far, we've analyzed further. He's had a number of games like this already. We decided that like the best move is knight f3, I think. d6, attacking the central pawn. Surprisingly, this position isn't that bad for black. You know, it's almost defensible. But now, Stockfish had a lot of ideas involving an early like queen e2, attacking the black king on the open line. I think I played this in a game myself. I'm just trying to think like what should black do? Pawn takes pawn. Like, what do you do? This is the issue. Queen e2 is probably not that strong. So I guess you can play like bishop c4, pawn takes pawn, queen e2. Oh, this is a transposition to Karachany Attila versus Notch Kalaman. Alright. Bishop g5, I don't think so. We want to really castle like queenside if possible, but yeah, bishop g5, okay, I mean it's a move, but I think you're going to untangle black by playing bishop g5. I think that's a bad idea. We don't want to help him like get his kingside pieces out. If anything, just like queen e2, bishop d2, and castles queenside. We want him to stay bottled up. Bishop g5 will help him like exchange off pieces, probably. I don't know, Asterbate played this. This can't be right. It just can't be right. Yeah, I mean, this is a useful move for black. That's not right. What would I play? Queen e2, pawn takes pawn. Was Arsenal talking about this? No, I still don't like this. We can't play this because of knight takes f4. Queen takes e5 check, queen e7. So like we have nothing better than just like taking the pawn, which is not that exciting. And I think this obviously is a nice shot. So what does black do? Where does he go? White will play like bishop d2 and castle queenside. I think white is pretty seriously better here. Bishop g4, yeah. We play bishop d2 and we just castle queenside. Alright. Anyway, that's analysis. But don't play bishop b5 check. This is not a good move. This is just like a useful move you're giving back for free. Now you can close the position, you've lost everything almost. I mean, I guess it's true. After d5, you go back to d3 and you have a space advantage. Alright. So he's probably within his rights to take on e5, but I mean, this is very scary. Seriously. Nah, I'm playing d5, man. I'll take the space disadvantage. I don't want to get, like, crucified here. I can live with that, you know, just having no space, but just getting checkmated is not cool. I don't know. Alright, so what happens if pawn takes pawn, though? Like, what's white gonna do? Knight g5? Maybe it's too slow. So this is the game. Oh no, Asterbate learned from his mistakes. He played bishop takes f7. There have been a couple of instances lately where he failed to play bishop takes f7. But I don't know about this man. I don't think this is sound. He's going to castle kingside and try to use the f file. But I don't believe this. It's maybe Asterbate should take up like Crazy House, Crazy Horse. Asterbate and Crazy Horse. They can go on tour with like Neil Young. Bishop takes f7 check, king takes here. Now what? Like queen h5 check? Then he goes back to g6. Good God, man. So, the moment of truth. King e8. King g6. Look, ma, no checks. What are you going to do now? You better have something. Show me the money. Where is it? Where's your attack? Queen e1. I'm unconvinced. Dude, it's minus 2.8. It's the best move, Arsenal. Good call. King g6 is plus 2.1. Wow. It's the light squares because you don't have a light squared bishop. The other option is king e8. But I mean, this is the worst square on the board because you're literally like blocking every single piece you have, you know, at the same time, and putting your king in the diagonal of that pin there. That's just, yeah, bad. Now you're winning the piece back, but you're still going to be down a piece. You're getting the second piece back, so you get your investment back and you get interest. There's one, and then the other one. Nice. Immediately after black took on e5. That's what he did. He did castle. Oh, yeah. Well, no, needless to say, like, bishop takes a7 check is not necessary. In general, I prefer not to give my opponents free pieces. So castles right away totally makes sense. You know, now you like legit might be threatening bishop takes f7. Even that's like kind of shady. Yeah, I agree, totally, of course. No, I mean castles looks it looks interesting. There's that trap he had in a similar position. Someone played bishop g4 against him, and there was like, now of course it's over. Bishop f7, king f7, and like whatever you want, you know, everything's winning. The black's gonna play like bishop g4. Yes. Castles is way stronger, of course. No, Asterbate, you played like Bughouse here. This is too much. But your opponent helps out by putting his king on e7. Here, takes. Now he's lucky he get the queens off the board. I mean, black's actually fortunate he can even do that. White's entire army is developed, though. This doesn't look good. I mean, if like king e8, f7 check, ouch. I think black's lost. Now, somebody needs to explain to me like what's going on after rook g8. Are we just winning? It has to be, right? Something not good about this. I think development. Bishop h8, lol. No, there's that tricky king g6 square again, man. Watch out for king g6. Acerbate's a sucker for that. But I have a feeling this is somewhat dangerous. Boom. Unfortunately, he doesn't have bishop c5 because of bishop d4. Anyway, I'm going to try rook g8. He just like lost a rook. Yeah, he doesn't even take it. But I guess it's sound, knight e4. Talk about playing for fancy moves. Now there's like bishop g4. Actually, yeah, Acerbate, this is crazy, dude. You gotta take this. Or else like pin him with rook d8. You gotta at least pin him. That's a brutal move, right? But this is a problem. You know, now, seriously, you're losing everything. I think there's a little problem. Operator? I'm not getting a dial tone. This seriously doesn't look good. That's much more deadly than knight e4. Now he can get his bishop out. Unbelievable. I mean, bishop g4, it looks like there's still some hope for white. I mean, for black here. Oof. Is this the best move, though? That's the best you can do? Well, you could just take. Just always take. Take, 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 and then it's check. Damn. That's kind of brutal. Takes, takes. We're just like up a rook after check. So Acerbate did what? Bishop h4 check, king g6. He has a weak spot for that square. If you're not careful, man, you're not even going to be winning here. Black is only a pawn down. Oops. He was playing for the mating net. Oh no. Nice emote. Check. Oh, you missed it. Isn't this mate? No. Oh no, it's not. Now you got the threat of knight g3 check. The knight g3 check. It's helpmate. Damn it. He actually found helpmate. The only square he can go to. It's gonna be mate though, no matter what, right? Pick a square, any square. I don't think you can prevent mate here. Wow, it's actually possible. Bishop e5 prevents mate. Knight g3 check. Bishop takes g3. H takes g3. We're not even up any material here. Dude, you could have screwed this up. Yeah, that was sloppy. I think you just take the rook, man. I would just take this. Thank you very much. Astaby got tempted into his mating attack that wasn't really there. He gets lucky with the mate in 1, though. Knight g3, mate in 1. Help mate. Alright, next up is Mule Skinner. Mule Skinner. Alright, Mule Skinner sent me a message here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Where 2 + 2 = 4. Move along. Officer, I cannot get a dial tone. A fun over-the-board game, over-the-board simul game, played against 2 GMs. Each move made a move every second white move. One of them being the famous Jose Cuenca Jimenez. The famous. Alright. So here's the game. He's black. It's got to be a French defense. No. Oh, like our first ever Mule Skinner. It's 50% Pepe Cuenca versus Mule Skinner. Alright, I don't know like which half of White's moves are Pepe Cuenca and which half are Anonymous Grandmaster. We can't really differentiate. Well, he played d4, knight f6, c4. But minimum 50% Pepe Cuenca. I've never played him. Alright, c5. He's too young for me. d5, b5. C takes b5, a6. So we're playing the... Yeah, we're playing the... whatever that is, the Benko. White plays the old... Lukács Grigo variation. This is considered by many to be like kind of a pro system for White. Yeah, that's typical Grandmaster move. I know that Pepe Cuenca is big on Chess24 and the theory videos, so he must be kind of a theory guy along with Gustafsson. They've done a lot of stuff on Chess24. That's all I really know about him. But a younger player that I haven't ever encountered. Mule Skinner does play the Benko, yeah. But he's never submitted a game that I can recall in a Benko. It's almost always the French he's submitting to our stream here. Yeah, so okay, e3. It seems like there's 2 ways to play against this. Takes or g6. I guess in this system with g6 you just like pretend it's like a normal Benko. There's also another idea, e6. I don't know if this is decent or not. Knight c3, e takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop b7, knight f6, queen f6. This looks very, very rare. I guess in the a takes b5 you can play it later. Okay, a takes b5, bishop takes b5, queen a5 check, knight c3, bishop e7, bishop d2. Let's check. Player Slaggy. I almost never play the Benko. Just out of curiosity, I want to see. Can't change player, duh. Alright, player, Acerbate. Sparkle Horse, Slaggy. All set? No, nothing. I have no games. Well, I have no games where my opponents played e3 against me. That's why. Okay. Yeah, it's a sophisticated line. Very few people play this with White. But I've always known, you know, it's always been like kind of expert players I've noticed play e3. Really expert opening players tend to play that line. Alright, let's go back to the main database. So Mule Skinner knows his theory, though. This is apparently the main move. Knight c3, bishop b7. There's also this. Durabai, who actually was here. He dropped by for a 40 player raid. So, Durabai Bailey. Bishop e7, bishop c4. Here, bishop c4, e6. So there's like no games. This is main line. It must have been like Pepe Cuenca was playing theory with bishop e5 and his opponent didn't know the line and now played bishop c4. His opponent, I mean the other grandmaster, must have been like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to play bishop c4. So white's supposed to play, I guess, bishop d2. And the point is, like, this isn't really a threat. Knight takes d5 because of knight takes d5, queen takes b5, knight c7 check. So you have a simul where the players, you know, are alternating moves, and it has the look of like this second grandmaster didn't know what he was doing, so he played like bishop c4, defending the pawn on d5. e6, bishop d2, queen b6. So we transpose back into another line, it looks like. And now e4, knight takes e4. Mule Skinner really knows his stuff. Now knight e2. White played d takes e6. Yeah, it's like more dynamic to take with the f pawn, but obviously you have to be careful of this. Check on h5. Safer to take this way, but we are playing a Beko gambit. So he gets back his pawn. Now it's equal material. Knight f3. White has a very solid structure with the remaining pawns, so he ended up playing kind of like a safe line. And we're following this old game, World Junior. No. It's probably like World Junior Championship 2006. Vichugab won the World Junior at one point, I thought. Knight c6, bishop c3. Huh. We can't be sacrificing c5 and having the guy have like two connected pawns on the queen side. We'll need that c5 pawn, Arsenal fan. Black has a problem now. So, how to develop without dropping our g7 pawn? And the Palmiachi here played bishop e7 naturally, hoping for rook g8, rook takes g2. Mule Skinner decided to give up his bishop. The minor exchange is a big deal, though. After this, you have major problems on the white squares. I feel like the whole position, you know, there's a lot of weaknesses in the structure for black on the white squares. And I'm still not sure how we're getting ourselves, like, developed anyway. So what else can black do? I mean, could you possibly play like knight d4? No. Could you possibly dream of this? No. There's no way this is okay, right? Bishop takes, bishop check, king f1. Yeah, I mean, Mule Skinner's playing GM, so I can understand if he's hesitant to like play this, allowing his king side to be like opened up. He was probably concerned that that's a danger. These Italian guys had a game I don't remember if Arlandi's a grandmaster, but he's definitely a good player. I played the other guy once. I can't even remember him, actually. It was so long ago. I think I beat him in a first Saturday years ago, like 2004. D takes e6, D takes e6, knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, knight f3. Get me the hell out of here. Yeah, I mean, so basically, white's not threatening anything. You know, Mule Skinner should play bishop e7. This is a huge mistake, which he only realized like subsequently, and the same mistake that Nepomniachtchi made. There's no clear advantage in playing knight c6. Why didn't we play bishop e7 first and get the hell out of here? After bishop c3, now we can castle and everything's fine. That was, you know, Arsenal's point is like, well, our c pawn gonna have to sacrifice it or something? No, not necessarily. Black might be slightly worse, but it's not that bad. We have good control of the center. I think we're alright. White's gonna try to maybe like run that pawn up, but we're gonna play knight c6 and control the b4 and the a5 squares and try to blockade. So I think this was a mistake. Knight c6, an automatic move, and after bishop c3, white's better. But I can't imagine justifying this bishop takes f3, but I don't know what to do at the same time. So we have to try what Nepomniachtchi did, I guess. Here, if bishop takes, rook g8, and we have dynamic play. So it looks like Nepomniachtchi like didn't lose because of the opening. Castles, castles, and we actually transposed the other game. Queen e2. Now he took. Yeah, I don't like that. The other guy also had to take. But what about another move? Can black play like bishop f5 or something? Yeah, I don't like taking, man. It doesn't seem healthy. See what the computer says. Oh shit, you can play bishop d5. Wow. Duh. I thought our bishop was hanging on e7. Yeah, so white is only a little bit better. But it's funny how both these players, a 2500 and a 2464, both exchanged here. But white is just solid better. I mean, I imagine if black could like somehow magically trade the dark square bishops, like he might be alright. But you can't like go bishop f6 or something. Like, how are you going to trade off this bishop on c3? And knight d4 isn't enough. You know, here, knight d4. White is still better. He's always going to be a little bit better. Anyway, alright guys, we got to move along. So I'm taking too long in the games. So Mule Skinner played bishop takes f3 even earlier. But now how is he going to get... He can't play knight move, so how is he going to get developed? The what? Excuse me? So there must have been some hallucination in the Grandmaster camp. White played g takes f here. Wow. Wait a minute, what? Why would white play like g takes f? They're just coming by the board quickly, and he for some reason thought he had to take with the g pawn. Permission slip for taking the knight with the bishop, absolutely, Asterbait. Yeah, I mean, Karpov. Oh, we've canceled Karpov. Well, whatever. Like, Akiba Rubinstein is not playing g takes f in this position. I'm sorry, you know, that's not happening. What are we doing? Like, queen takes, knight d4, queen e4. There's not even any knight d4. It's like hanging a rook. What are we afraid of, man? What's black going to do? Rook d8? We can't even move our bishop without hanging the g7 pawn. This is a freaking nightmare for black. I mean, g7 is under fire. We can't... Ugh. I don't like it. We're in a lot of trouble. It's a very unpleasant position. No, I mean, this is a concrete mistake. There's absolutely no reason for white to jeopardize his pawn structure. I don't get it. That's a crazy move. Now the question is, what do we do? King e7 or something? He did it. He did king e7. Yeah, I thought about it. We can't play like f6 because of e6 being too weak. I mean, the other option would be to just like drop the pawn. You know, like bishop e7, bishop takes g7, rook g8. But you've got to watch for stuff like bishop b5. Though that's not a big deal necessarily. But after bishop e7, it might be like bishop e5 right away. Oof. This doesn't look good. So bishop b5 is a threat, and, you know, we have other problems, thus king there. Now our bishop's buried. Now I think white... Yeah, so the more I look at it, the less I like rook d8. So what if the Skinner had played like bishop e7 here, given the pawn up, played rook g8, and then, you know, said, well, at least my like rook is on the open file. Maybe white doesn't even take the pawn, but then you're gonna castle. This is really a mistake. Rook d8. And then they had to play that. That's kind of ugly. Alright. A nice move. Looking at f3. And now, of course, knight d4. Is the king safe? It can go to f6 even later. Here's an interesting question. I like taking with the pawn to get a passer rather than trading pieces. Yep. Now white has two connected pawns on the outside, though, very dangerous. We're hitting f3. You know, so I think like if white is a super player, he can maybe maintain his advantage here. But it's a tricky situation now. White never should have taken with that. With the pawn on f3. That was just fancy. White just grabs this. I admit it's hard to not grab that pawn on b2. But I mean, I like king f6. Our king is safe here. We still have the possibility of that. We also have that. If rook b3, I mean, we have a passer. We're playing for attack, like queen c7, queen f4, bishop d6, and mate. You should be playing for mate in opposite color bishop positions. I think that's the most important thing. So let's say white does, like, I don't know, rook e1 with the idea of this. Then like g6, your king can walk back here, for example. I don't know that queen b2 is a mistake, but I think like we should resolve our development first. Yeah, this is definitely the right idea. Now we have serious threats. White could just lose very quickly. Wow. He's threatening this and preventing. We have queen f4 now. Oh my god. So queen f4 threatening bishop d6. What's white gonna do? Swap queens with queen e4? That's what happened. But I would do it the other way, here first, and then he plays queen e4. It doesn't matter. Okay, queen f4, bishop d6, and then he does that. Nice move. Sacking his h-pawn with check. Wow, Muleskin are really going for it here. I think he could trade queens and he's probably alright. The passer's very strong. White also has a powerful passer, but I think black's probably okay. So he goes for it here, check, here, rook b8, and now white has mate in 5. Jesus Christ, he walked into rook takes f7 check. Holy crap. I would have traded queens, man, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't really blame you for playing for a win, but I think that I take here and I try to hold. We have a powerful passed pawn. We're actually up a pawn. and you're playing a grandmaster. He has a pass pawn, you have a pass pawn. You've got rook b8. I mean, this has to be a draw. I think it's very, you know, Obscular bishop positions are very sharp. He underestimated white's threats. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not surprised. So Mule Skinner let his guard down. Check here. Apparently he was winning. If you look at the computer eval, probably has to like check on h3 or something. Guard the e6. And white is lost. But okay, the computer says it's winning. It's not that easy to win. You know, I mean, still, it's a very complicated position. With the grandmaster playing white, I mean, black has a pass pawn, white has a pass pawn, black has two pass pawns. Okay, black is better, clearly, but it's not an easy win. But he just like let his guard down. Yeah, it looks like your move is actually, let's see, queen f4. He should have traded on f4 and actually played for a draw, which totally makes sense. White should have been the one to actually initiate the exchange of queens. But he wanted to, like, he was greedy. He wanted black to, like, fix his pawn structure. Positionally greedy. And now Mule Skinner is actually winning. I assume queen h3 check. Or do we have a tactic? We don't have any sort of tactics, right? Black doesn't have any kind of fancy tactics. I mean, it just has to be queen h3 check, guarding the pawn chain, and then slowly winning. I assume. Here. Is there something better that I missed? Wow, g6. So here it doesn't work. Takes, queen takes c6. We slip away on the dark squares. So g6 is actually a good defensive move that stops the sacrifice. Wow, that's brutal. And he just sees it. So king takes, queen takes check, and mate in 1. You have to go up here. That's mate in 1. So you have to, how do you hold for more than, what other move is there? Oh, like here. It's not mate in 1. There's this square, yeah. It's not mate in 1, right? It's like check, here, check, here, check, here. That doesn't work. Damn it. Oh, we have rook b5. Some lines. Terrible at mates. Where's our mate? I mean, there's also like rook b5. No, it's not. Check. Here. There's something here. Check, king h5, queen g4. Well, you actually have this. The point, Mule Skinner was one of the last boards being played, and they're arriving at his board faster and faster. Maybe. Interesting game, though. That was fun. Alright, we got to move on. A couple more games left. I've got goodies, oldies but goodies. It's too hard to calculate mates here at 9 o'clock on a Thursday night when I've been working all day. Don't ask me to calculate mate in 4 or mate in 5, please. Where is my studies? I've never been that kind of player, really. The expert in calculating mate in 5s. It's a mate somehow, whatever, we'll figure it out. Alright. This is Sumaher, Lakey, Move 11, and Bogachag. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. So we got Sumaher Bijak, aka Bijak, playing Taliban Chook. Interesting. Beat the Taliban. Don't make a deal with the Taliban. No draws. Well, it's funny. Lately I've been giving Sumihara some practice with the modern, so he's kind of warmed up here. He's good at King's Indian. Yeah, that's a good name, like your Krapnik. You need a new Karpov name. You need help how to win these positions. Alright. So, I don't know. The knight f3 is like a Petrosian. I don't know. I mean, like bishop g5, bishop e3. I really don't know like what the best line is. I guess bishop e3. Your opponent plays c5. I was recommending, I definitely prefer c5 if I'm black here. But it's funny how rare bishop d3 is. Can you take advantage of that with black somehow? Can you play like knight c6? Uh-oh. That's what you usually play? That move order? Are you sure? Maybe knight c6 is a problem. Why is knight f3 bad? Because you can play knight to d4 here. No, what you usually play. Yeah, bishop e3. Okay. Yeah, bishop d3 is weird. It's not accurate. So what Alekhine wrote in 1924 that white should be happy if black plays bishop g4, bishop f3 in the King's Indian. And h3 is not great, but maybe it was a different position. Yeah, it's like it's not even clear if the King's Indian existed in 1924. Okay. It definitely existed in the 30s. It's actually an interesting, like, historical sort of point that move 11 brings up. You know, like, in what form did the King's Indian exist in the 1920s? No, it's interesting idea, but I really don't think it existed in its modern form until at least the 30s. That would be my take. So he goes to check Benoni. Feugl. It's like Feugl playing Feugl. There's a really great player who's a friend of mine from Ukraine who lived in Boston for 30 years. And Igor would like play either side of this. Probably he would like it. He liked to play it with black and white. Big Petrosian fan. But yeah, g4 is strong. So you just like transposed into a good line. Yeah, this is good. We're golden. I mean, you basically just transposed to the check Benoni is what you did, you know, or black transposed to a check Benoni. So he's justifying bishop d3, I think. Bishop d3, this is how I would play with the white side of check Benoni. Actually, bishop e3, queen e2, knight f3. That's the setup I usually play against the check Benoni. Now black plays knight e8. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't particularly like this for black. Gerardo, 1984. So yeah, if black wants to try to play f5, he's going to have to trade off his white squared bishop, which is good for white. So this is a tough decision now. I don't know. Like, part of me wants to play that. The question is, if you play knight e2 and black plays for f5, I'm a little concerned about bishop f6. Bishop here, knight g7. Queen d2, stopping bishop g5. Here. And now knight to g3. f6. Threatening bishop g5. Castle's queenside. Bishop g5. Bishop g5. F takes g5. Man, black is like frozen. Like, check out that knight. But it feels like it's hard for white to break through. I don't see how white can really like break through here very easily. So the advantage of like putting your knight on f3 would be like that kind of plan isn't going to happen. You got a Shipov game here. I assume like knight a6. Yeah. Shipov Moisenko, 2003. White actually played a3. I don't like it. Shipov's move is probably better. What about bishop f6? What do we do? It just goes back. Well, we don't want to trade dark square bishops. So let's see what you did. Alright. Bishop e3. Knight d7. I don't know where the knight's going from there. That's like the worst move ever by black, literally. So now all he can do is like a Ruy Lopez plan. He can play f6, rook f7, and like knight f8. Like seriously, knight d7 as usual is like bad. It's usually bad. It's always bad in the Benoni. Man, knight d7 is dumb. Here. And then f6. Yeah, as I said, like his only plan is rook f7, knight f8. It's horrible for black. So you castle queenside. I wouldn't be in such a rush to commit myself here with white. I think it's an advantage to have, you know, less information as to where you're going to go with your king. You should stall. I think the most important thing is where to put your knight now. I mean, you have to be careful he doesn't lock the entire position. That's really the big danger here. And that's the... I wouldn't commit. I don't know, knight f3, a6. If you don't castle queenside, I don't think he can do anything crazy like play b5. You know, it's interesting, when Spassky played this kind of position in the Czech Benoni, he would put his queen on e2. Not on d2, but on e2, because you're never doing bishop h6. You know? You don't want to do bishop h6. The queen might actually be better on e2. Though here it's an advantage if you ever like transfer your knight over, I don't know. Dude, this is a tough position, but let's go over it. Okay, a6. I don't know where to put the knight. And then he plays b6. I mean, he could play b5. Honestly, I mean, maybe he could sack a pawn. But this is really passive. I mean, I guess knight c7. You're going to do f4, aren't you? At some point, maybe. But if you do, black will claim the e5 square. You know the deal. You might see the astrobate maneuver here. Yeah, this is rushing. Yeah, I think h5 is rushing it here. Is there any way you can play it and not let it get completely locked up? Why play h5 right away? What if you play knight g3 first? Maybe we could do like g5. Well, it's maybe not a bad move, but I don't know if it's the most flexible for you. I want to try to avoid letting it get completely locked up. I also think you ought to consider queen e2. The question is it too locked up to make progress after h5? You know, can you actually open the position? I wouldn't let this happen. You know, I don't know that you have a guaranteed way to open the game. There's no question you're better, but what if you can't break through? So I would say, like, why play h5? You know, wait. I was thinking maybe g5. If he can't play f5, I don't know, if he just like moves back and forth, right? He's going to have to play rook f7. Let's say rook f7, rook h2, knight f8, guarding this, swinging his rook over. I guess that's what I would expect. Now this is hanging. So you guard that, and then the question is, can you break through with like a g5, g5, h5? Try to break through along the h file. You might have to incorporate f4, I think. Yeah, it's really tough. It's very, very tough. Well, I'll just concretely say if you did anything bad. I mean, I think it's just kind of committal. Who knows? Like, maybe you could sacrifice a piece on his pawn chain at some point. I actually think, like, you might want to have your king in the center here. Yeah, that's crazy. Can he do b5? Never mind. Yeah, that's alright. No, it's alright. It's alright. b5's alright. What are you going to do? b4? Maybe you should try b4. Seriously. There's also the possibility of sacking on this pawn chain. If he plays c4, you move your bishop back. He has like no control over the dark square a7. You at least would have a lever here with a4 and a way to open the game on the queen side. I still think that white has clear advantage. You could even like take your time and like, you know, mosey on over to the other side with your king or something and play on the queen side. You might want to move your king all the way over to the other side of the board, in other words, before you try to break through. Yeah, this is bad. He shouldn't have let you fix that. Yeah, I mean, so you have b3 at some point. Do you have it like right away? Aren't you like just winning on the c file? Maybe that's overly simplified thinking. He does have some stuff like queen b6, hitting this diagonal. You have to secure your position a bit more. I don't like taking his bishop though. I think this is a mistake. That's his worst piece. I mean, he's going to try to play, and I've played the King's Indian. You know, he's got to get it out here. But it takes forever, if he can even manage it. Well, I mean, you can play b3 whenever, though. You think he's going to stop it with, like, queen there? Another option is to pull your knight back too, as strange as that might seem. I guess it's good to keep him busy though. Alright, here, I don't like knight takes g7. This I definitely don't like. You know, you need your knights in a closed position. You got to try to play for b3 and then the c file. Yeah, now he decided to play f4. Interesting. Objectively, it's probably not good. He just takes and like sticks his knight on e5. I still think you're better here, but I guess knight b6 is pretty scary. Queen e3. Does he have this? What a weird position. Like here, here, and here. No. So you're actually just like winning a pawn there. He can't play knight b6. And you're threatening b3. I think you're still seriously better. His pieces are misplaced. I mean, this bishop, I don't know where it should be. Yeah, f4 doesn't look right. So why can't he take this? I don't understand. What are you going to do? He has 95 now. You're actually, like, losing, maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Yeah, f4 is a mistake. Maybe you should play f6. You might have something there. I don't know. I would seriously consider it. Giving up the pawn to try to open lines. Now it's going to be hard to do anything. I think it's a fortress. This still, you still might have b3. Yeah, this is definitely a good move. You should definitely play queen e3 at some point to cover this. Keep an eye on this. Keep him off that diagonal, and to play for b3 yourself later. You're still better. Computer doesn't agree, but I think white's better here. Objectively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Material's equal. I don't know. The computer is evaluating this as better for black, but I think in a real world situation, I like white. The possibility of the b3 break. Possibilities of like a sacrifice on g5. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. Okay. So, bishop f3 here. You traded queens. Yeah, objectively, you got to get in b3, but you've got these weaknesses now. Funny that his king is like flat-footed. It doesn't move. Now you just have to calculate bishop takes g4. Okay, it's crazy now. Bullet chess. He was just hanging a piece there. And you went on to win. A lot of silliness at the end. I'm sure you took it down on time. No. 0.1 seconds left. 0.0 seconds left. You actually won with 0 seconds left? So you're like under. I don't understand. How did you win on time with 0 seconds left? Got room for another submission? I don't think so. We're a little bit late. But if you put it in the list, I'll add it for next week. Where's Turkey? Turkey Farm. Turkey Farm, how's it going? We can always add it for next week. How did you win on time, like with 0.0 seconds left for like 4 moves? You lag flagged him or something? 0.00.00. All the time it said like you had 0.0. Alright. Anyway, that's important. So Lakey's the next game, then move 11 and Bogachog. Hey, can I register my FM victory for next week, please? Absolutely. Send it directly to me. You can send it on Twitch, you know, wherever you're not banned. Wherever you're free to roam this week, Arsenal. Wherever they removed your ankle restraints, ankle monitor. You're free here. You're as free as the pharma bro. Great, Richie and Will. Beauty day out here. Don't get many of those in Atlantic, Canada. I didn't realize you were in Atlantic, Canada all the time. I always thought of the turkeys as more like, you know, they would be more like Midwestern Canada. Okay, bishop e5. This is Lakey playing white. How are the real estate prices where you are, Turkey Farm? Skyrocketing? I heard like Canadian real estate going up. C3, A6. Yeah, against the Cozio defense, I mean, I guess everything is good. Castles, D4. C3, though, looks like kind of most principled. Obviously, people play knight C3. I don't think that's... I don't know why that's so popular. But I guess it's not bad. You can pretty much do anything against knight e7. I would think opening it up makes sense, though. Statistics are interesting here. Knight c3 has clearly the best results. I don't know why, though. Like, one thing is for sure, if knight d4... You can't go knight d4 and just, like, drop your pawn on e5. What's the idea, though? Okay, knight c3, knight g6. Yeah, this wasn't this like a Grishuk Rapport game from the Olympiad, where Rapport like lost like horrifyingly, like 5 years ago. It was h4 or something. I must have been confusing it with a slightly different position. Man, it was something like this. It was just awful. Very similar. But this actually was better than what happened to Rapport. Okay, c3. I like c3. This seems like a good move. What's the point? Like, black can play d5? Yeah, I mean, d4 is very principled. This got to be a very principled move. Alright, c3. Yeah, a6. Yeah, so most people are playing some kind of Steinitzian type of setup here. With g6, bishop g7. Exactly. You play it like a Steinitz. It's a form of like Steinitz, right? You could play d6. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like b5 is like, whoa. That's crazy. Like, that just looks bad. Silvino has a game against Mikhail Tal in 1975. Silvino is a grandmaster from Cuba. He was president of the Cuban Chess Federation for like years. I think he's still around. But he wasn't in the league with Tal. But this is a crazy thing to play. You're playing Tal and you're playing like knight e7 and b5, man. f7 looks like it's dead. What are you going to do about f7 here? You've got to play h6. Okay, knight g6 stops knight g5 with the concrete queen takes. Yeah, come to think of it, I like knight g6 better than I like h6. I don't like either of them. See, now we're asking for h4. d5 is possible after bishop b3 as well, no? Yeah, you can also like walk out street, you know, get hit by a bus. That doesn't make it a good idea. You can see the score there with d5. It's like the fried liver, dude. It looks awful like a fried. It looks a lot like a fried liver to me, man. If that's awfully fried liverish. Black is 0-7 with that move. You're really asking for it. That's like the bus. The bus variation. Silvino did that? My god. It looks really dangerous. Can you imagine playing that against Tal? I guess I don't know. Knight g6, I would think h4 is a problem. What is Black gonna do? That looks bad. So I guess you have to do h6. Is there any other option? No. So like h6, d4. Now what does Black do? Yeah, you're just like screwed, because if you play d6 you just lose because of f7. There's no way to defend everything. So you have to take. And it's like Tomas Strenson's game. This is just horrible. I mean, d5, again, is probably the best chance. It's not a lot better than the suggestion you had with like d5 immediately. I suppose, though, it's kind of the only thing to try here. Otherwise, Black's just getting destroyed. This is horrible. Pigzilla. This guy won the prize at the Olympiad for the most names. He has 6 names. They have a special prize every year. Player with the most names. Pig El Wiaya Pig Mon. Yeah, this is a really bad line for Black. b5 is awful. So you have to do like g6. Or maybe d6 and a deferred Steinitz. It's just a normal Steinitz. Deferred. So b5 is super weakening. Alright. Pranav Anand. I think I played that guy. Well, he's already up to 2359. Wow. h6. I think when I played him, he was like 2150 in 2018. $21.75, maximum 2200. h6, d4, e takes d4. Yeah, this is all falling apart. You're following the exact game the pig played. Yeah, I mean, knight a5 was disaster. d5 looks like the best try objectively. What would Mikhail Tal do? This looks like the most aggressive. But I'm not certain that's the best move. What is the best move here? Take. Take and castle. Quickly trying to use the E file. I'm not convinced by this, you know. This looks like absolutely black's best try. If you play E5, it's an advantage, but it's slow. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can definitely be sure you're better after E5. But I feel like there's probably something like more direct TV. It's amazing that it's not that bad for black. Wow, dude. Poor, like, Pig L Wiaya Pig Hemond, like, played knight A5 here. When he could have played D5 and put up, like, a really sustainable resistance. Damn. That's definitely not good. Was C takes D not best? C takes D. Oh, C takes D. Ah. Oh, okay, so interesting suggestion here from Turkey Farm. Turkey Farm is suggesting there might be an alternative to C takes D. Yeah, let's open our minds a little bit, you know. Let's be a little open-minded, man. Theoretically, you could play something else, like Acerbate with sack on F7, dude. It's crazy house. Pass the bong, man. Can you please pass the Great Poupon? You could play it like a gambit. I mean, you always could. Castle. Castles has to be good. But the problem is black doesn't, you know, take on C3 and just, like, do whatever. No, castles is good. It's strong. It's true. It's a good suggestion. It's a very good suggestion. I like it. We'll have it approved. Yeah, this is a kick-ass way to play. Because, like, he doesn't have, like, a halfway measure here. What's he gonna do? Like, G6? That looks... Oh my god, we got a Pankratov game. What's he gonna do? G6? Yeah. That's the only freaking move. He's gotta do G6. This is like self-extermination. There's no way we're doing that. It's definitely G6. We're following Pankratov. The idea is that whenever white takes, then we black, you know, we slam out like the D5. So here we go again. He doesn't have it here. D5 takes, knight takes, rook E1 check, bishop E6. I have a bad feeling about this. You know, there could be like nasty little tricks. White might have some kind of nasty tricks here. Phew, damn. I talked about the game where I almost fell out of the chair. The falling out of the chair variation. I would just be like, oh my god. Bishop takes D5. That's your best piece. How are you trading that off? Jesus. Man, if this works, black's really in trouble. Here. Now that's the way to play chess. Just brute force. Who needs stinking bishop, right? When you have total domination of the center. Yeah, this castles is really strong, man. Good find. Good find. Theoretical improvement. Alright, so H6 here takes castles is best. He took back, and now after knight G6, black is wrecked anyway. He should have played D5 here. Now Acerbate's getting closer to bishop takes f7. I think like h4 is probably strong. I mean, it wouldn't take much to get me to play this, honestly. Especially if like Uber Driver was coming by the game. I would be extra incentivized to play h4. White just has a huge advantage, though. I mean, you don't have to do anything fancy, I guess. That's exactly what white did. I don't know about d5. It's probably not bad. But you could keep the tension. But it looks like this is crushing. Damn, yeah. No, this is game over, man. I introduced back to the concept of the center. Don't hesitate, though. I felt like Tomas hesitated a little bit in his first game that we went over. Like, we should probably, like, you know, go for the jugular again. There's also bishop e3. Now, f5 I don't know about. But it can't be bad, what white did here. This looks hesitant. We hesitated. Now we're really hesitating. It'd be better not to pin ourselves. Probably just that. You know, I think the rook isn't doing anything necessarily, unless we have d5 and some sort of fancy thing with like grabbing this knight with a tactic. Yeah, I agree, Turkey Farm. I mean, there's something more deadly at some point. d5 and then some sort of d6. Lighting up that. I don't know if we want to play f4. I mean, there's this. I can't analyze everything, but there are a lot of possibilities here. Yeah, d6 is Turkey Farm's move. I didn't realize it just wins. Duh. Why did the computer want to play knight c4, though? Oh, because it blocks the diagonal. Duh. Yeah, he has to block the diagonal. It's a very hyper-modern way of playing the black side of the Roy Lopez. Has anyone ever seen anyone play the black Roy Lopez like this? It's the most hyper-modern I've ever seen. Yeah, good call again by Turkey Farm. Crushing double attack. I still think this is probably. There's also sealer sweepers, like it's a Benoni. A lot of interesting lines here. I mean, black should probably try to castle and survive. So white basically like played too hesitantly. We're seeing that a lot today. This move in particular looks a bit funky. I mean, it seems more natural to put the queen on d2 and bring the rook over here, probably. It looks like you're playing for some kind of cheapo. This is definitely not clearly best. And that I don't like the self-pin. And now he exchanged pieces, so it's like a Benoni, effectively. And you just drop this pawn on e4. Is that a trap? The e4 pawn is gone but not forgotten. Yeah, we're so close to some kind of cheapo based on that knight, but yeah, here you have to You have to get yourself out of this pin here. Threading knight d4. I mean, in fact, like, I don't know, man. I would consider sacking the exchange. This is almost tempting. Like, now you're losing material. Yeah, that was bad. I mean, to pin yourself. After bishop g4, you play rook e1. You're actually threatening to trap his bishop, you know, with f5. This bishop has no business on g4. Never ever, like, leave yourself in an awkward pin. In this case, you're, like, pinning your own piece with knight e2. And you don't want to let black exchange pieces with less space. You're super lucky that he didn't win your e4 pawn. And then it looks like a draw. I mean, it's a good bishop, but it's also a good knight. It's probably around equal now. And this is a draw. I adjourn at a draw. Now it's not a draw anymore. White has e5. Now white is probably better. I mean, you gotta play e5 here. He's seriously worse now. Now it's a draw again. Now it's a dead draw. Get the rook to an active square. Okay, draw declared. The end of that was a little boring. Alright, we've got the epic move 11 versus Baggio. Maybe I'll run into him at the poker club tomorrow night. Alright, one of our own Hungarian chess players. Last time I went to the poker club, there were like 3 IMs playing chess. I mean poker. I feel like George Bush. They never should have invaded Iraq. I mean, sorry, Ukraine. That was totally inappropriate to invade Iraq. They're playing chess, no, poker, whatever. Alright. Yeah, you know I meant Ukraine. A little Freudian slip there. So we've got move 11 versus Baggio. Another Roy Lopez. Wait, I've seen this game already. I've seen this game already, right? So we got another, the Roy Lopez day. Move 11 played a4, anti-Marshall. Yeah, we saw your game already, Neil Skinner. I was surprised that your opponents like played G takes F. That was risky. It was an interesting game. We did pretty in-depth analysis of that game. Anti-Marshall. D3 Muy Solido. Alright. Yeah, this feels very Nepomniachtchian. It's interesting, there's not too many games from this position. Where did we leave the main line? Okay, so this is interesting. Caruana Carlson 2017. Really just a couple of high-level games. Robeson Durabai? Durabailey? I don't know. It's hard to say. Game going back to 1980. Jansa, who's still alive. Both those guys are still alive, I think. Uber driver Mama needs some chess lessons, in my opinion. introduce you to I introduced you to the central squares. A takes b5. I don't know, man. Like, the first question I have here is, why are we exchanging on b5? Does it have a purpose? Uber driver's mama plays the French defense or something. I don't know, dude. And she never puts her bishop on b7, for sure. I don't know, I think it's alright. I like this. I like this theme. Okay, the knight's in the way for now, but that's life. So what is move 11 supposed to do here? White isn't worse yet. I'm like almost tempted to play that. Is that such a bad move? No one plays it? You get like slammed by knight a5 or something? It's not a big deal. Is there a trap with like bishop e4? Is there some reason why I can't play knight c3? I mean, it goes without saying that white can take on d5. All of you are materialists who want to grab this pawn. I smell the materialism in the audience. You listen to Madonna. We are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You just want to like take this pawn. That's all you care about, is a freaking pawn. I want to fight for control of the center, the squares. Knight c3 enhances our control of the center. Why is this not a good move? White's score here. You do realize, Mr. Coffee will back me up on this, I think. You do realize move 11, this is like, I think the sample size is like basically irrelevant. When you're talking about something like 22 games, you can like the score, but I really don't think this type of sample size has almost any relevance, you know? I don't know. I mean, statistically, it's just too small of a sample size just to be like, oh, I like the score here, you know? There's hardly any games. Let's see what the computer says. I was trying to hold off. What about my knight c3? So they gotta take, how could black possibly be better here? The engine's like negative 0.1. Are you shitting me? Black's better? He can be better? Let's see, knight takes e4. Then he hits you with the knight a5, sacking that nugget on e5. Material world again. Unbelievable. I still think the Palmiachi will draw against Carlsen here with knight c3. Okay, so you gotta take. Take. Rook takes a8. I'm just not sure this benefits us. You know, this whole exchange of stuff on the A file. On the other hand, maybe it doesn't hurt us. So if we follow Ivanchuk, you could do worse. You could do worse than follow Ivanchuk. This looks like Ivanchuk. Ivanchuk Bakro. he won. And Robson beat Durabali too. Though I don't really like c3. It feels like it weakens our structure. We have to do something, I guess. So white is 2-0 with c3 here. It's not a sample size, but it is an interesting coincidence. And I'm sure Uber driver's happy. c5. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're up a pawn. Isn't that all that matters? Bakro lost anyway. He played a freaking perfect game and lost anyway. Because he was playing Ivanchuk. Life is tough, then you die. This was apparently a mistake. Oh man. Ivanchuk is brutal, dude. Yeah, so that looks like the best try. It looks like the best try. So you played a takes b, take, here, here. No, this is not your game. It was take, takes d5, takes here, and then black played knight d4, it transposes, knight d2, and now our friend played a novelty, knight f4. This is Bagimate. Now I don't know if this is a novelty. There's no games on lichess, no master games. Needless to say, like, Acerbate would pretty much guaranteed sacrifice something on f7. I mean, black's attacking g2, but it's not like with check or anything. So if there's a problem here, Houston, it's got to be for black. So you have to, you know, there's no half measures. We can't be like playing f3 or something. I mean, you got to like go for it somehow. There has to be something for white. Maybe like queen g4. Can you sacrifice the g2 pawn? I mean, move 11, you gotta have some tactics here. Are you just playing knight e4 or something? That's gross. You play knight df3. There goes the queen side. You play knight on df3. And if he plays knight takes b3, you play bishop takes f4, right? That's interesting. So he goes, just take. You take back. Yeah, I'll never forget the time that Roman sacked on g2 against me. It's rare that that sacrifice happens. No, Uber driver's got to be happy with this. We're up a pawn. But it feels like black has enough compensation, just about, that it's probably not enough for white. I have a hunch here that maybe knight f3 isn't the best. You have something sharper. I want to play something like sharper. I know the computer was talking about sacking on f7. But that wasn't my idea either. I thought we could enhance our developments somehow. I was looking at this. Just loses immediately. It's good. Very good. But why does that lose immediately again? Queen g4, knight takes b3. I can't take this. Yeah, this is stupid. Knight c1, rook c1, bishop g5. Never mind. There's nothing you can do. I mean, in retrospect, your move is logical. I mean, the main point is that this is defanged. You know, you've defanged his threat of knight takes b3 by hitting his knight. It makes a lot of sense. If knight e4, what's the difference? Like here. Is your knight more active on e4 versus f3? Like, I didn't really see anything with knight takes f7, to be honest. I was thinking about developing our pieces. Move 11 played here. This is the only other move that appeals to me. Because it prevents knight takes b3. Or at least it takes the danger out of it. So why knight f3 versus knight e4? Okay, you played in a very safe way now. You know, I think that black is a pawn down, it has to draw. At this point. Typical Marshall. I think I prefer c3 here. What about you guys? Maybe it doesn't make a big difference. I don't know. There's like a tiny weakening of the e4 square. It's probably not significant. Like, what would this be? You know, I guess it would let him play c5 more readily. You're kind of preventing c5. But doesn't he have bishop takes f3? Queen f3? Queen takes d4? Rook e4? Resigns? Not yet. Yeah. Queen b2. Knew there was an answer. I could just feel it, you know, there was definitely an answer. But I have bishop takes f7 check. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I knew there was something there. He said I was banking on g3, queen f7. You could play this, I guess. Theoretically. Is there a problem, officer? Maybe that's a good move. It's a cute position. King h8 and obviously like g3. So there's still some play left. But I would still argue like this would have been a little bit safer in a sense. Alright. Now knight e5 was played. I think it's just a draw objectively. You're threatening what? Uber Driver famously said like the bishop's not good on b7, but it's okay on a8. I like it. It's pretty good now. I think Mama was wrong about that bishop. c5, d takes c5, bishop takes c5, and now knight takes f7. Oops, there it is. So after rook f7, queen e8 check, bishop takes f7, queen f7, queen 8, aren't we winning the exchange there? Damn, dude. We're just like winning an exchange? Hold on. No, I missed something. After rook f7, yeah. Oh, this is a devastating move. Wow. So after knight e5, he has a serious problem with f7. What if you're threatening knight d7? Maybe. I wasn't sure about that. You know, if you didn't have any discovered attacks or threats, like yeah, you have some big threats. I don't know. Sorry. Are you threatening knight d7? Is that what you're telling me, officer? You're actually threatening knight d7. That's funny. I just assumed there was something there, and then he played c5 and was like, well, there's definitely something there. But what is there? I mean, it's not like he can do bishop takes h2 check. But I just assume black has something. He can move his queen and threaten you, right? He has moves. You don't win the exchange immediately. I guess he just assumed he had something. Yeah, he can play something. The problem is the back rank doesn't go away. The problem is, like, whatever happens, right? It's like g3 and or h3 or g3 or whatever, and like you can't move your rook because you just like get mated, you know, or lose a rook. Unless well, losing a rook is not good either. Just, you get my point, right? But this is also strong. Damn. And now what do you do? Knight h8 check. He sacked it all along just to increase the pressure on f2. Okay, my head hurts. My head's hurting. You're up 2 pawns here. You have to be winning. I don't see a tactic, though. There has to be a tactic here. Why? Played like Rubinstein. But I don't know, man. You could play knight c6, then bishop takes f2 check, king h1, bishop takes e1, threatening queen f1 mate. Is that a problem? I think we have a problem, officer. Wow. So, other options include, but not limited to, like knight f3. And if you play queen e5 here. Sorry, it's a little late. I'm just forgetting there's mate there. Guys, don't have to remind me. I just saw it. Okay. Thank you. Queen f1. Oof, that's ugly. Oh, man. I saw the maiden one. A little late, but I did see it. That sucks, dude. Unbelievable. Can't you, like, leave your knight there in the way? Seriously, you have to have another move here. I can't believe it. There's no way this isn't like a forced win for white. How is this not a forced win for white somehow? Unbelievable. There's no way to like interfere. Like d8 doesn't do anything. He can never take because he just gets whaled with bishop takes f2 check. Crypto whale. Unbelievable. Alright, so you had to play queen f1. This is sick. You're up 2 pawns, but the guy has compensation. Unbelievable. Compensation for 2 pawns down. c3. Bishop a7. Pick a diagonal. Any diagonal. Yeah, Dingley Wren is like revving up to play h5, h4, h3. And like lose in the candidates or something. So move 11 found that. There's bishop takes f2 check. Wait, what? What's happening here? No, that doesn't work. You just take with the queen. Alright, rook e5 is okay. Here. I feel this is an epic battle between like Nimzovich and some extremely dynamic player. Nice. What bishop pair, mama? Yeah, that was a major victory for white now. Now we got it under control. Alright. Getting him off that long diagonal is huge. No, this is huge victory for white. He's not getting like attacked on both long diagonals constantly. We can always sack the exchange, no problem. Like seriously, rook takes f5, I'm definitely sure that white is better. It happens to be every time I play the white side of the marshal, I literally have to sack the exchange every single time. So rook takes f5, like queen e2, and white's probably better here. Okay, it's dead equal. Well, worst case scenario, you can do it. You think you should do it? The Oracle. Oh, he did it now. It's like how I lost to Andras Mizaros for not sleeping all night. I had 2 pawns for the exchange. Every single time it's like you play the white side of the marshal, you end up sacking the exchange for like 2 pawns. Yeah, this is daunting. Now it's just 1 pawn. I don't know, man. That guy's king is... Baggy's king is really looking sketchy now. You got queen d1. You played king g2 here. Dude, suddenly his pieces look scattered. No, I don't think there's that much, like, coordination. Don't you have queen d1 now, like getting down in his position? I feel like he's in danger. Isn't black in trouble now? Damn, he's holding on there. Unbelievable. But I still think you should go for it. Damn, that was a big mistake. He's not going to give... You're in danger? Did I say Mr. Coffee was in danger? Ooh, 11 is in danger. Now that's a nice b-pawn you got there, sir. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh my god, no. No, 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 no. Can't let this happen. His b-pawn lives because bishop takes b5, queen f3 check is like mate. Rook takes b5 and like mates you. Jeez. So what's up with bishop takes g4? You're just like, nah, I'll get that later. He has a b pawn. In retrospect, I think bishop takes g4 might not be a bad idea. What do you guys think? But if you play this, wow, he's winning. Oh shit, are you serious? You can't defend. He still forces a queen trade. Oh man, that's brutal. So this was really the moment. Like, you had to play queen d1 there. But you should have seen that. I mean, his king is like a sitting duck on h8. He's lucky that it's even a draw, according to the engine. I mean, he's like wide open in the end zone there. Dude, his king looks like an NFL wide receiver with no coverage whatsoever. I mean, that is really very bad oversight. Now you're busted. I don't think you can stop that b pawn. Well, at least we got to try like knight d3. No, you can't. Oh shit, it's even worse. We don't lose the h pawn. Yeah, it's probably lost. Good game, move 11. Moving on to our last game for today. Again, if anybody didn't get their games analyzed this week, wanted the game in, send me the game. We'll add it for next week's Turkey Farm. That was a good game, dude. You were still not losing even up until queen d1. Alright, last game. Bogachog. Boba Fett. Boba Fett. 10-year-old Indian girl. Well, that means she's at least 2,000. Even though her rating is 1100, her actual strength is like 2190. The only thing that I get from that is that your opponent is 1,000 points underrated. Probably. Alright. Are you playing white or black here? I don't remember if you play... You play French defense? You were driver's mom? Or do we beat the French defense? You know, technically this move order is like inaccurate, right? Although it's a big favorite of Nimzovich, the idea is to sack a pawn. So cd4, are you going to go... Are you going to do the gambit with bishop d3? I think it's like perfect for a 10-year-old opponent, honestly. Maybe not my first choice, but it's okay to play an ancient gambit against a little kid, probably. Pretend you're Johnny Hector. But I mean, you know, you end up playing c3 anyway, so my question would be, like, why play that move order? I guess there's a chance they go in for it, huh? You might as well play like queen g4 and really go for it, you know? Alright, knight f3, knight c6, c3. Now we transpose. Oh, you're going to play the gambit. Oh, okay. Okay. The black played bishop d7. So that's inaccurate. That's a famous mistake. Black has to play pawn takes pawn. And then if you play pawn takes pawn, they're supposed to play bishop d7. But there's been a lot of developments in this now. If black plays pawn takes pawn, you don't take back, but you castle. Did you know this, Bogachog? Like, this was used by one of the girls in the U.S. Women's Championship last year. But the real, really originally it's a Johnny Hector idea, I think. You see, there's a game from '07. This is not new theory. I mean, it's actually Johnny Hector, and it's all people are like running and like copying his ideas from like 15 years ago. This is a really decent line. It looks problematic for black. So you can see, like, even Bashir played it. Black has problems sorting it out. I think it's as good as the normal Milner Barry. But instead, like, okay, you castled in, and then black played CD4. Wow. Or what happened? Bishop D7? Oh, you didn't take on C5. You're supposed to take on C5. Are you avoiding this for some reason? You're supposed to take on C5 and it's like better for white. I mean, I guess it's playable, like A5 or whatever. But it's supposed to be better for white. It's not like it loses by force. You played A4. Wow. That's really crazy. This is new to me. The fact that a guy like Drew, Jose Nigueras, with the white pieces playing this is pretty disturbing, though. That's a respectable result, man. I think Nigueras might have even been a candidate or something. He's a decent player. Maybe he wasn't a candidate, but he's a strong player. Older now. Used to play a lot in Canada for some reason. I guess he wasn't allowed to fly to the United States, so Cuban players would typically like play in Canada, even though they weren't allowed to come to the U.S. A4, wow. Well, that's certainly going to confuse the 10-year-old opponent. So world-class Grandmaster played knight on G to E7 there. But Hot Dog's opponent played pawn takes pawn. People are materialistic. Average peoples are materialistic. Strong Grandmasters, not necessarily. So A4, interesting idea. You've got maybe some kind of A5. A5 decoys, huh? I mean, strategically, it's dubious. B4 is a weak square. Yeah, this is a bad sign. I mean, queen. Okay, it's one thing to take the pawn, but queen C7 looks. It's just. I mean, I think that queen is gonna have to go either back. It's gonna have to go back to D8, basically, if it's gonna go anywhere, I don't see. Yeah, A6 is an option. But, yeah, okay, A6 is an option. If you want to try to put the queen on C7, be my guest. I think it should go all the way back. This looks like half measures. I mean, this should be protected, I guess. Queen E2. Now she played A6. So what if you played knight B5 first? Black plays queen B8. You could now play bishop F4 and try to like sit on the D6 square. It's obviously very complicated. I mean, black has F6, but it looks dangerous for black. Clearly. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way to go. Maybe black will go back to D8. White has some compensation. That's an interesting point, though. You know, knight b5 is an interesting point. It's just like a place to put a place for mom. It's just a place to put the bishop. But I mean, is this a better place to put the bishop? You're obviously gonna get hit by rook c1 and the a file. Something to think about again. And black would like to swap pieces, probably with like knight to d4. I think trading pieces is good for black. Yes, you could just go knight e7. Preparing to increase the pressure on e5. White has rook e1. This is a weird move. I don't like rook d1. I don't see how the rook is going to be active there. I mean, it seems like the rook either goes here or it goes here, or the other rook goes here, but I don't really see the value of rook d1. I might be missing something. And now black clearly lost their mind. No, I thought about knight b5. I mean, I realized like that might be an idea, but I couldn't believe it could possibly work. Oh, you mean knight d5? Well, this is an expected possible sacrifice, but I mean d4 is really compromising black, I think. So the only logical move is knight e7 at this point. You have, I feel like you've misplaced your rook. Like you should put it on e1 to overprotect e5. You have the possible sacrifices in some positions. Yeah, obviously if you play rook c1, you may have knight takes d5, but black will defend against that with like knight e7. So you're still not threatening, you know, I've thought about crazy stuff like this, but it's no way. I don't know. I just don't like this move. This is horrible though. d4 is horrible. Wield edgy. Congratulations, thanks for the mention, and you got a gift sub from Cooking Rooks. d4, knight e4. Yeah, why would black play d4? Their strong point on d5 is so solid. Now you have access to the d6 square. Exchange of the bishops is favorable for white. I mean, unless black's going to try to grab this pawn, but they don't have time. Yeah. I know that Bobby Fischer said you have to give squares to get squares, but this is giving too many squares. And I don't know what we're getting, you know, I really don't know what we're getting. I mean, we're clearly like giving this one to white, but what are we getting with d4? Does anybody understand? Like, what squares are we getting from that? That's our monster pawn. No, this is just bad. Now black's in big trouble. And now black is on the verge of lost. Interestingly, like, you could also, well, nah, you gotta do it this way. So this was your point? I mean, are you telling me, like, the entire point was that your rook would take back on d2 at the end of this variation? That's like a consideration? That's pretty abstract. Obviously black has knight takes e5 here. but I don't think it works. Queen e5, queen d6, queen g7. Maybe it works. That looks scary, though. You know, I can't believe that black can hold it together here. I mean, this position is really dangerous. Hey, how about king f6? It's possible, man. I mean, who knows? I was thinking knight f5 takes, knight takes e5. Looks like I'm playing coffee house. What does the computer say about knight takes e5? It's freaking complicated, dude. This is a serious move. I mean, black has to consider it because it's the thing that's holding white's whole like attack together. I mean, the pawn on e5 is the basis for white's entire attack on the black king. So you got to think about trying this with black here. Queen d6, queen g7, knight f6. What the hell is going on, man? Knight g5, rook f8. What a position. This is fantastic. This is totally unclear. You know, I mean, she should have tried knight takes e5. I think a lot of people are just like, oh no, that's too scary. I don't want to do it. Black has a chance to do that, to knock that pawn out. You have to consider it. This is a strong point. Okay, she's up a pawn. There's a case for this too. There's a case for not doing it, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Black is up a pawn. Yeah, this looks really bad. You're then not getting another chance to do it now. And man, g6 looks like fatal weakening of the dark squares. So now black's reduced to like f6 or something. How does black even survive here for any more moves? It looks like it's over. I guess maybe... I mean, black can't coordinate his pieces, or her pieces, can't even get them out. You know, like, you're totally paralyzed. I want to suggest f6. You know, I don't know. Knight g4. Yes. Let's calculate. Knight f7. Knight g4 is a good suggestion. Way better than g6. Systematic, and we're threading knight takes e5. There's a couple of possibilities, but I think the main one is knight takes f7. King f7, knight g5 check. King, you know, e7, queen takes g4. And then something takes on e5. But a messy situation, you know, and I don't believe that black can be better. It's lost according to the computer, virtually lost according to the computer. There's a very nasty situation there on the open file. Wow. Yeah, so virtually lost position. But this looks fatal. I mean, look at the dark squares here. I mean, I'm just gonna play like queen d2 and walk in there. I don't think that black can survive. That looks like game over. How does black decide? Like, how does black even play another move after queen d2? I would think this is just like game over immediately. Knight is hanging. There's like queen g5 check. You have no tactics, and we're threatening. Yeah, Queen e2 is just game over, man. But your move may be good too. No, maybe not. You're trading queens? Oh shit. Look at this. The computer, they call him. He goes for like some kind of insane, beautiful rook sacrifice. Damn. I would have contented myself with a simple win here, but instead, knight takes d4, knight takes d4, queen e3. The brilliancy prize. Queen g5 check, and then we take stuff with check. So we'll take the knight with check, and then we'll pin the other thing over there. Is there a mate, though? We get the other guy with check. Like on g8, black's just like getting mated. No, because there's queen takes e5. Bruh. Alright, so there's king e7 or king g8. I don't know which is better. Actually, king e7 looks really bad because of queen g7. Threatening like this. This looks really bad. So I agree, like king g8 is forced. But we can't get knight f6 because knight e4, queen takes e5. Screws up everything. And we're not winning anymore. Oh man. But you have rook c1. I mean, maybe this is the best try. What about queen a5? Picking off the e5 pawn, if possible. Now you have moves like queen f4, like what happened in the game, maybe. It's pretty complicated. I mean, I'm serious about queen d2. This is crazy. Why don't we just play queen d2? It's like plus, yeah, it's +7. Instead of like just winning, you play this crazy sacrifice. Take, here, 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 here. And now we can't play knight e4, so here. And now f6 or f5. I don't know which of these is better. Not sure he even has to do that. I mean, maybe black has another move here. I mean, you're threatening mate in 1. Okay, that's obviously a thing. But let's say like bishop takes a4, I don't know. Just hypothetically. Just play h4 and let the rook go. Play f4. Oh, f4. Well, there's going to be checks and then checks on the back rank, man. No, this is never working. f4. There's no way. Like, you're getting checked here. I mean, you're going to get, like, back rank mated and stuff. White's lucky if he gets a draw here. You're not covering c1. It's too slow. Maybe h4 if you want to like do something. Like I would believe that. I mean, you're down a rook, but you have active threats. I don't know. I would play rook c1. Yeah, it's totally unclear. Wow. Yeah, it was just a bad decision. Maybe he just simply missed, you know, he thought he was winning by force, but he simply missed queen takes e5. Queen g5, same idea. Not really, because you're letting that king have a square. I don't think that white's clearly winning. White is like lucky if he's not losing here. f5 is a good move. What about takes en passant? I'm gonna take, if I can get a draw, I would take it, but I think the problem is like here we're not, you know, even getting a draw anymore. The black king can go there and like walk away. It's just totally out of control. So now you played rook c1. I mean, this is still under control. You sacked an exchange, but you know, the situation hasn't totally spiraled. You still have a strong knight on d6. If you get back the knight, you know, I think that black could have tried maybe queen a5 or something weird. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I'm trading queens. Maybe queen g3. It looks slow though. I mean, I think like white screwed up. But seriously here, on f5, should you take? It's lost. Wow. It's not lost. No, let's see. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes a1, queen h6, bishop somewhere. Defending the mate. If f7, black sacks the queen. Unbelievable. The computer calls it equal. But anything could happen in a real live game. Yeah, that was another mistake. Looks like you should have taken. And here you could play h4, stopping g5. That also makes luft for white, so it totally makes sense. Well, I mean, g5 still could happen. I was surprised white didn't take with a rook here. I mean, you're better still, aren't you? I think white's still just better. Why take with the bishop on c2? Yeah, g5 was a huge move for black. And trading queens is out of the question. I can't believe that black didn't trade queens. You're like up the exchange in a winning ending, and you're not trading queens with a less safe king. Really fundamental mistake. Only bad things can come about that for black. Oh man. And it's mate. Wow. What's amazing is like how well black defended and then just like lost in a really, really sort of dumb way here. Oh, she has rook h7. Okay. I thought she was just lost. Never mind. Here. But still, it was very, very sloppy. Black could have traded queens. Unbelievable. I also think you should take on b5 to isolate that pawn, probably. You know, even if you're not intending on like taking on the next move, I still think you should create a target there. Why not? I don't like allowing b4. You're lucky if this is holdable. Yeah, it's probably okay for white now. Wow, she just blundered. Actually, I don't know what black should play. So this is really key moment. Suddenly white's coordinated. What did black do? My god, I mean, she could have traded queens. Are you kidding me? It's like game over, man. Queen takes, knight takes, game over. She hung her e5 pawn and then hung a piece. Damn, and that's game. There's no defense for black here. Gotta be something. It's only one pawn. Yeah, it's bad. You've got a good blockade of e5. You're coming in there. There's no penetration on the d file. Black can't play e5. They can't defend e6. It's lost. +5. Welcome to the end game. The place where little kids go to die. Yeah, it's just over. Alright. Good game. An interesting back and forth battle. Thanks from Bogachog. Thanks to Bogachog. You almost managed to make it interesting. Rook h2 check. It's just like torture the opponent. Alright. Black not big on resigning. Thank you. Guys, I'll add those other games for next week's Thursday subscriber stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks to Mr. Coffee. Thanks to Basip Durabai for our raid earlier from his stream. Go check him out. Thanks to Cooking Rooks for a very generous donation. 21 gift subs today. Leading the week. Thanks to all the others who supported the stream. Interesting games this week. We will put the others in the stream list for next week. I'll be back tomorrow if I'm able to sleep tonight, and we'll play some rapid chess in the morning. Fast Rapid Friday. Thanks everybody. Again, super thanks to Mr. Coffee and our alt moderator Arsenal. Thanks guys. Have a great night, and again, take it easy. I'm gonna drop a raid here for who's streaming. Art Vega, art_Vega. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.